Chapter 3003. Master's talent is truly terrifying to be able to create 7 clones after just 2 rounds of practice. And Chun was stunned for a moment. Then, he revealed a rueful expression and exclaimed in surprise. While Chun was still in shock, Mo Qingyun slowly opened his eyes and withdrew from comprehending the sword technique. The cultivation method of the 9 absolute shadow swords is indeed very similar to the 9 heavens gods and devils / Recalling the situation of the practice just now, Mo Qingyun understood a little more in his heart. His previous guess had an answer. Immediately, Mo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and instructed Chun, "Soon, the dark devil race may attack. At that time, I may need your help. Don't cultivate in seclusion for the time being." "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Chun immediately nodded in response. After instructing Chun, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and sent him to the Fortune Continent. After Chun was sent to the Fortune Continent, Mo Qingyun's movements didn't stop and he immersed himself in cultivation again. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword again, the number of doppelgangers he created actually reached as many as 8. If Chun was here, he would definitely be shocked again. Originally, he thought that 7 times wasn't Mo Qingyun's limit. 8 times seems to be my limit. If I want to reach 9 times, I need to practice again. After discovering that his comprehension of the 9 absolute shadow swords had reached a limit, Mo Qingyun understood in his heart and said, "It seems that the comprehension of the 9 heavens gods and devils / can't be copied and used to cultivate the 9 absolute shadow swords." After understanding this point, Mo Qingyun abandoned the distracting thoughts in his mind and began to practice the sword technique again. Mo Qingyun's comprehension of the 9 absolute shadow swords had reached a whole new level as he swung his sword again and again. Subsequently, the power he displayed every time he waved his sword began to become stronger and stronger. At this rate, I'll be able to reach the level of 9 shadows in a few days. Seeing his cultivation speed, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy, and he worked even harder in his cultivation. Time always passed very quickly during cultivation. In the blink of an eye, several days had passed. After these few days of cultivation, Mo Qingyun's comprehension of the 9 absolute shadow swords reached a new level again. When he swung his sword to attack, he could already create 9 clones. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was practicing his swordsmanship, the 3 people who had broken the array came over. After a few days of trying their best to break the formations, the 3 of them had finally broken all the formations in front of them. When the 3 of them arrived near Mo Qingyun and saw Mo Qingyun practicing the sword technique, their eyes immediately widened in shock. What kind of sword technique is that? This kind of power is too terrifying. I'm afraid even great emperors wouldn't dare to take his sword head-on. Looking at his current actions, it seems like he's learning this sword technique and hasn't mastered it long ago. He's only at the beginner stage and the power of his sword technique is already so strong. If he cultivates it to perfection, it'll be even more amazing. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's sword technique, the 3 of them were stunned and their faces were filled with shock. While the 3 of them were still in shock, Mo Qingyun sensed their arrival and looked over at them. "Master, we've already broken the restriction formation in front of us." Seeing the power that Mo Qingyun displayed, the 3 of them immediately became more respectful towards Mo Qingyun. "It's already broken. It's at least a few days earlier than I expected." Hearing the 3 of them report, Mo Qingyun's face lit up with joy, and his eyes were filled with excitement. Mo Qingyun thought for a while, then nodded at the 3 of them and said, "It's been hard on you these few days. Let's go over now." Hearing Mo Qingyun's orders, the 3 of them hesitated and seemed unwilling. Mo Qingyun was a little displeased by the 3's behavior, and a doubtful expression appeared on his face. The 3 of them were behaving in such a way that was simply too abnormal. Mo Qingyun could not help but wonder if the 3 of them had set up some kind of trap ahead. Seeing Emo Qingyun's displeasure, the three of them knew that Emo Qingyun had misunderstood. One of them hurriedly explained, "Master, please don't think too much. We just want to ask you, now that the restriction formation has been broken, can you let us go?" Emo Qingyun's expression did not change when he heard the three of them. He said coldly, "It's not that I can't let you go, but at least wait until I enter and get what I want." The three of them looked at each other with a sliver of reluctance. Emo Qingyun's reply made them look at one another. However, due to Emo Qingyun's terrifying strength, the three of them exchanged glances and nodded in agreement. "Lead the way." After telling the three of them what he wanted, Emo Qingyun did not want to delay and immediately signaled to them. Immediately, the three of them led the way and went deep into the passage with Emo Qingyun. Emo Qingyun was not careless at all as they went deep into the passage. He was very careful along the way. Emo Qingyun only let down his guard when they reached the bottom of the passage, and there was nothing out of the ordinary. Standing at the bottom of the passageway, Emo Qingyun saw a huge altar with some ancient array formations revolving around it. Apart from that, there was a strange instrument at the most important part of the altar. "What is this?" Emo Qingyun frowned curiously when he saw the strange instrument at the center of the altar. Seeing Emo Qingyun's reaction, an old man walked over to Emo Qingyun's side and said, "Master, this is the blood-refining pivot of the Taisher Blood Soul Palace. The Taisher Blood Soul Palace refined the blood of martial emperors and refined the martial emperor blood essence jade through it." Blood-refining pivot? After listening to the old man's explanation, Emo Qingyun looked at the blood-refining pivot with even more curiosity. It was the first time he had seen and heard of such a strange magic weapon. After introducing the blood-refining pivot to Emo Qingyun, the old man did not stop talking. He pointed at the altar in front of them and said, "Master, the formation of this altar has been broken. We can only destroy it with brute force. We were worried that the blood-refining pivot would be damaged when we destroyed it, so we let you handle it yourself." "Okay." Emo Qingyun glanced at the altar and found that the formation on it was just as the old man had said. With such a result, Emo Qingyun did not hesitate and immediately punched the altar. Immediately, a shocking wave of saint power blasted out from Emo Qingyun's fist. Under the bombardment of Emo Qingyun's fist, the formation outside the altar exploded in an instant, creating a terrifying storm of formation power. When he saw this scene, Emo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he slashed his sword towards the storm of saint energy. Under Emo Qingyun's sword, the violent storm of saint power was directly dispersed. After dispersing the storm of saint power, Emo Qingyun did not stop and continued to walk up the altar. End of chapter. Chapter 3004. To be able to disperse that kind of saint power storm, young master's sword is so powerful. It's even stronger than before. It's enough to kill an ordinary Emperor Realm expert. It seems that young master has the strength to kill Zixiang. He wasn't bluffing before. Seeing Emo Qingyun disperse the saint power storm with one sword, the three elders standing to the side were all in awe. Under the three people's awestruck gazes, Emo Qingyun came to the altar and stood beside the blood-refining spiritual pivot. The structure of the blood-refining spiritual pivot was very complicated. At first glance, it looked a little like an engine with countless rotating shafts inside. But upon closer inspection, one would find that it was many times more complicated than an engine. What a strange thing! After observing the blood-refining spiritual pivot for a while, Emo Qingyun frowned and became even more curious about it. He thought that he wouldn't be able to find a treasure like the blood-refining spiritual pivot even if he searched all the star domains. After observing the blood-refining spiritual pivot, Emo Qingyun stopped thinking about it and said to himself, "The blood-refining spiritual pivot is used to refine blood essence. I wonder if there are any remaining Emperor blood essence jades inside. With this thought, Mo Qingyun began to search the blood-refining spiritual pivot for any Emperor Blood Essence Jade. Clatter, after searching for a while, Mo Qingyun found 5 pieces of blood-red essence jades in a small secret groove. Seeing the 5 pieces of blood-red essence jades, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed and said excitedly, "Are these 5 pieces of blood-red essence jades the Emperor Blood Essence Jades?" At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was guessing, the 3 onlookers all looked excited. Emperor Blood Essence Jades. I didn't expect there to be 5 complete Emperor Blood Essence Jades in the blood-refining spiritual pivot. No wonder the Dark Demon race sent people to excavate the altar of the Taisher Blood Soul Palace. It's for the Emperor Blood Essence Jades. I think it's not just the Emperor Blood Essence Jades. Their real purpose here is probably the blood-refining spiritual pivot. It must be so. If the blood-refining spiritual pivot falls into their hands, the consequences will be unimaginable. After talking for a while, their expressions became heavy as they thought of a possible result. With the Dark Demon race's talent and means, if they got the blood-refining spiritual pivot, they might already have Emperor Realm experts. If that was the case, it would definitely be a disaster for all the sects in the myriad heavens and realms. Fortunately, young Master acted in time and foiled the Dark Demon's plan. Young Master, that one action of yours has indirectly saved the myriad of worlds. Seeing the blood of the Blood Jades, the 3 were all excited to see the Emperor of the Heavens of God. Of the blood of the spiritual pivot of the blood spiritual blood jest. Of the Emperor of the blood spiritual of the divine. Besides, the blood-refining spiritual pivot is already broken. Even if the Dark Demon race obtains it, it won't be of any use. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he took out a jade bottle and carefully put away the Emperor Blood Essence Jade. With 5 pieces of Emperor Blood Essence Jades in his hand, Mo Qingyun smiled with satisfaction. He was very satisfied with this harvest. What should we do with this? Looking at the blood-refining spiritual pivot in front of him, Mo Qingyun hesitated for a moment before putting it into the Fortune mainland. This magic treasure is very strange. I'll put it away first and study it later. Maybe it has some uses. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun raised his hand and put away the blood-refining spiritual pivot. After putting away the blood-refining spiritual pivot, Mo Qingyun didn't want to stay any longer. He walked down from the altar and said, "Since we've gotten the thing, there's no point in staying any longer. Let's leave this place immediately." "Yes." The 3 elders answered and followed behind Mo Qingyun. As they walked out of the passage with Mo Qingyun, the 3 elders exchanged a glance. The old man from before said, "Young Master, since our mission is completed, can you let us go?" Hearing the 3 elders' question, Mo Qingyun pondered for a moment before saying, "Based on your attainments in formations, I would like to invite you to join my sect. Of course, if you're not willing, I won't force you." Mo Qingyun's words caused the 3 elders' expressions to tighten. Worry was written all over their faces. Judging from their expressions, they seemed to think that Mo Qingyun was unwilling to let them go. The 3 elders pondered for a moment before mustering up their courage and said, "Young Master, thank you for your appreciation, but please forgive us for not being able to join your sect. Since it's like this, please do as you wish." Mo Qingyun revealed a regretful expression when he heard the 3 elders' answer, but he did not stop them. He said, "The Dark Devil race did not attack. Deactivate these formations and we'll leave this place." "Yes." Hearing Mo Qingyun's command, the 3 elders immediately deactivated the formations. Looking at their expressions, they could not wait to deactivate the formations and leave this passage. Boom! At this moment, when the 3 elders deactivated the formations, the mountain suddenly shook. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun and the others were shocked. They guessed a possibility. The Dark Devil race had arrived. Not good, the Dark Devil race is here. What should we do now? They're guarding outside. If we go out, it's the same as sending ourselves to their doorstep. But if we don't go out, won't we become turtles in a jar? Seeing the situation they were in, the three of them revealed worried expressions, showing intense worry. Compared to the three elders in front of him, Emo Qingyun was much calmer. He did not show the slightest bit of panic. On the contrary, now that the Dark Devil race had arrived, Emo Qingyun was filled with fighting spirit. He had just cultivated the Dark Shadow 9 swords and needed some sparring partners. The Dark Devil race had come at the right time. Although Emo Qingyun was filled with fighting spirit, he did not rush out recklessly. He immediately said to the three elders in front of him, "Deactivate the formations first. I'll go and test their strength. If the conditions permit, I'll bring all of you with me." "Yes. Thank you, young master." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the three elders were pleasantly surprised. In his opinion, the only person who could save them now was Emo Qingyun. If Emo Qingyun did not save them, they would fall into the hands of the Dark Devil race. Even if they could survive, they would become their slaves again. Emo Qingyun instructed the three elders. His figure flashed and disappeared in front of them. When Emo Qingyun's figure appeared again, he was at the front of the passage. He carefully observed the situation in front of him. A great sage expert and three ordinary great emperors. Thanks to Emo Qingyun's probing, he now had a clear understanding of the Dark Devil race. After knowing the strength of the Dark Devil race, Emo Qingyun's expression relaxed. It was still within his ability to deal with them. End of chapter. Chapter 3005. Boom boom boom. While Emo Qingyun was observing the situation, the other party launched another attack, bombarding the mountain. Under the bombardment of the Dark Devil clan, the mountain shook violently as if it was about to collapse from their bombardment. Emo Qingyun didn't care about this situation. His figure flashed and disappeared on the spot. Whoosh! When Emo Qingyun reappeared, he was already beside the three of them. "Young master, how is the strength of the Dark Devil race? Can we kill our way out?" Seeing Emo Qingyun return, one of them looked nervous and immediately asked Emo Qingyun. Hearing this person's question, Emo Qingyun calmly shook his head and said, "The Dark Devil race is much stronger than I expected. They are led by a great sage expert and three ordinary great emperors. With our current strength, we will be under a lot of pressure if we fight them head-on." When Emo Qingyun's words came out, the three of them were all dumbfounded. Despair appeared on their faces. "It's over. It's really over. We're dead for sure. Just three great emperors are already not something we can fight against. I didn't expect there to be a great sage expert. Let's give up resisting, open the formation and surrender." After knowing the strength of the other party, the three of them lost their fighting spirit and only wanted to surrender. Emo Qingyun wasn't surprised by the three's reaction and didn't feel the slightest bit of emotion. If he was in the same situation as the three of them, he would definitely feel despair in his heart. After all, in terms of cultivation, the gap between them and the Dark Devil race was a little too big. Although the three of them had lost their fighting spirit, Emo Qingyun didn't give up. He looked at them with a serious face and said, "Although the other party is stronger than I expected, it doesn't mean we can't deal with them. Next, the three of you listen to my instructions. If everything goes smoothly, I have the confidence to defeat them." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the three of them were first surprised and then doubtful. They had seen Emo Qingyun's strength. However, they did not believe that Emo Qingyun was strong enough to fight against the Dark Devil clan. Emo Qingyun did not care about their doubtful attitude. He directly instructed the three of them, "Go open the formation restriction at the entrance and let them enter the tunnel. After they come in, you guys activate the forbidden formation and shut the door on them." Hearing Emo Qingyun's orders, the three of them hesitated, considering whether or not they should listen to Emo Qingyun. Seeing their reactions, Emo Qingyun was displeased. There was a hint of anger in his voice. Don't forget that the reason why I stayed behind and fought against the dark demons was to find a way to take you away. If you're not willing to listen to me, then pretend I didn't say anything. I'll leave right now. As for whether the three of you live or die, that'll depend on your luck." Seeing that Emo Qingyun was angry, the three of them immediately panicked. They hurriedly begged Emo Qingyun, "Sir, please don't be angry. We didn't know how to appreciate your kindness. We'll listen to all your instructions. We'll go open the formation restriction right now." After the three of them spoke, they did not dare to delay at all and immediately walked towards the tunnel. Seeing their actions, Emo Qingyun showed a satisfied expression and walked towards the entrance of the passage with them. Soon, Emo Qingyun's group of 4 arrived at the tunnel entrance. The three of them opened the formation restriction at the entrance. As the formation restriction was opened, Emo Qingyun's group of 4 appeared before the Dark Devil Clan. At the same time, the group of Dark Devil Clan that attacked the three of them also entered Emo Qingyun's line of sight. "It's him." Seeing the Dark Devil Clan's great saint expert, Emo Qingyun was shocked. He recognized him. When Emo Qingyun recognized him, the other party also recognized him. With an angry expression, he shouted, "Emo Qingyun, it's you again. You've come to ruin our clan's business. Great Saint Zishao, long time no see. How have you been?" Emo Qingyun did not care about Zishao's anger at all and greeted him. Seeing Emo Qingyun's calm appearance, Zishao's face was ashen and his expression was tense. In his opinion, if Emo Qingyun appeared here, Lei Muan and the others might also be nearby. Back in the Purple Heaven Holy Land, they had been defeated by Emo Qingyun even though they had an absolute advantage. At this moment, the number of people on his side was far less than the last time. Therefore, he had to be careful in case he fell into Emo Qingyun's trap again. Seeing Zishao and Emo Qingyun's behavior, the three people at the side were all stunned and looked at Emo Qingyun in shock. He really did not expect that Emo Qingyun and Zishao actually knew each other. It seemed that they had even fought once or twice. Under the shocked gazes of the three people, Emo Qingyun looked at Zishao with a faint smile and said, "Zishao, last time in the Purple Heaven Holy Land, I let you escape with your tail between your legs. I was worried about finding you, but I didn't expect you to take the initiative to come to me. You can't blame me for this." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he moved and took the initiative to charge at Zishao. "Retreat quickly." Seeing Emo Qingyun's attack, Zishao's expression tensed up and he immediately reminded the people around him. Hearing Zishao's words, the group of people around him immediately retreated. Such a situation really surprised Emo Qingyun. It was something he hadn't expected before. In his opinion, Zishao should be very angry after seeing him. Now that he had taken the initiative to come out, Zishao should immediately attack him in his rage. In the end, seeing that he had taken the initiative to attack, Zishao led his people to retreat. This was really too abnormal. Emo Qingyun was puzzled, and the three Sacred Array Masters watching from behind were even more puzzled. The Dark Demon Clan seems to be very afraid of Master? That seems to be the case. In this case, won't we be saved? Don't be careless. Those people only retreated and were not scared away. The reason they retreated is probably to test Master's strength. Therefore, they don't dare to act rashly. The three people analyzed and their expressions tensed up again. After leading his people to retreat, Zishao's face was tense. He looked around and said, "Emo Qingyun, tell your people to come out. Don't hide anymore." "My people are hiding?" After hearing Zishao's words, Emo Qingyun was first stunned, then understanding dawned on him. It turned out that Zishao had retreated in fear because he was worried that someone was lying in ambush nearby and would launch a fatal sneak attack. Emo Qingyun understood this and a faint smile appeared on his lips. "Zishao, I didn't expect you to become so alert after not seeing you for a while. What if I don't tell them to come out?" Chapter 3006. Looking at Emo Qingyun, Zi Zhao's expression tightened and the fear in his heart grew stronger. The more relaxed Emo Qingyun appeared, the more he didn't dare to act rashly. His fear of Emo Qingyun grew stronger. Seeing that Zi Zhao didn't give the order to attack, the great emperors beside him were dissatisfied. Great sage Zi Zhao, this brat is just a sector lord. Why are you so afraid of him? With our strength, even if he has people lying in ambush, what can he do to us? Great sage Zi Zhao, you're getting more and more cowardly. Just watch us attack. The three great emperors grumbled for a while before charging towards Emo Qingyun. Seeing their actions, Zi Zhao was furious. He revealed a nervous expression and said, "The three of you, stop. That brat's methods are very strange. It's not as simple as you think." When Zi Zhao shouted at the three of them, he also flew towards them. He was afraid that they would be in danger. Zi Zhao's nervous expression made the three of them look down on him even more. As far as they were concerned, as a great Saint Realm expert, Zi Zhao had actually been terrified to such an extent by a junior at the World Lord realm. It was truly too embarrassing. It's actually the three of them. They even disobeyed Zi Zhao's order. Interesting. The corners of Emo Qingyun's mouth curled into a faint smile as he looked at the three people who were attacking him. The mocking expression on his face became even more pronounced. Immediately, Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and immediately flew towards the tunnel. When Emo Qingyun flew back, he pretended to be panicked and shouted at the three people in the passageway, "Our bluff has failed. Hurry up and close the formation restriction. Don't let them enter the passageway." As Emo Qingyun shouted, he also transmitted a message to the three of them. He told them to wait for the Dark Devil race to enter the tunnel before closing the formation. "Did you see that? That brat saw us approaching and ran away in fear. I thought he was very powerful. So that's all he's capable of. Great sage Zi Zhao is too cowardly. He was actually frightened by that brat." Upon seeing Emo Qingyun's behavior, the three Emperor Realm powerhouses from the Dark Demon race immediately mocked him. At the same time, their disdain for Zi Zhao became even stronger. "Oh no, we've been tricked." Seeing Emo Qingyun's performance, the uneasiness in Zi Zhao's heart immediately became even stronger. Based on his understanding of Emo Qingyun and Emo Qingyun's temperament, there was no way he would do something like this. In that case, Emo Qingyun's abnormal behavior was definitely a trap that he had set up. Zi Zhao understood this point. He shouted at the three people in front of him, "Hurry up and stop. That guy is pretending to be weak. Don't fall into his trap. Follow him into the tunnel." As soon as Zi Zhao finished speaking, his flying speed immediately increased by a few notches. The three great emperors from the Dark Demon clan smiled disdainfully when they heard Zi Zhao's words. As for Zi Zhao's warning and dissuasion, they completely ignored it and directly followed Emo Qingyun into the tunnel. As soon as the three of them entered the tunnel, Zi Zhao saw that the tunnel's formation was stirred up again. Oh no! Seeing that the formation in the tunnel was stirred up again, Zi Zhao felt a sense of uneasiness. Immediately, Zi Zhao didn't dare to be negligent and immediately attacked the formation restriction. Boom, boom, boom. Under Zi Zhao's frenzied bombardment, loud sounds could be heard from outside the passageway. At the same time, under Zi Zhao's crazy attacks, the formation restriction's light began to dim bit by bit. Oh no, that great saint is too strong. The formation restriction won't be able to hold him off for long. Seeing that the formation restriction's light had dimmed, an old Saint Array master exclaimed worriedly. Hearing his worried words, Emo Qingyun smiled faintly and shook his head. "Don't worry. Before he breaks the formation restriction, I have enough time to deal with these three people." As soon as Emo Qingyun finished speaking, his figure flashed and disappeared from the spot. When Emo Qingyun's figure reappeared, he held the divine sword of 9 bulls in his hand and slashed at one of them. "Be careful." Sensing Emo Qingyun's aura, the three of them trembled, and a wisp of shock appeared on their faces. They could clearly feel that the aura of Mo Qingyun's sword had already threatened them. At this moment, they gradually understood why Zi Shao was so wary of Mo Qingyun. The strength that Mo Qingyun had displayed was indeed a little abnormal. When the three great emperors of the Dark Demon tribe attacked at the same time, an aura that surpassed Zi Zhao's suddenly appeared behind them. Sensing this terrifying aura, the three great emperors of the Dark Demon tribe immediately turned pale with fright. Great Emperor Realm Expert. There's a great Emperor Realm Expert lying in ambush here. Oh no, we've been tricked. We were wrong. We shouldn't have disobeyed Supreme Sage Zi Shao. What a cunning fellow! Sensing the Supreme Sage's aura, the three great emperors of the Dark Demon tribe looked regretful. However, they were great emperors after all. Even though they were caught off guard, they quickly regained their composure. Humph! Even if you've ambushed us, it won't be that easy to injure us. After the three great emperors of the Dark Demon tribe regained their composure, they started to retaliate. As they were wary of Enchen's strength, two of them went to block Enchen, while the other went to deal with Mo Qingyun. Dark Punishment Execution. When the great emperor charged at Mo Qingyun, a huge saber appeared in his hand and he slashed at Mo Qingyun. Then, a saber light that could swallow mountains and rivers shot out from his giant saber. Immediately, the saber radiance blocked the sword radiance and dispersed it. You've overestimated yourself. After easily dispelling Mo Qingyun's attack, the great emperor of the Dark Demon tribe revealed a look of disdain. Seeing the great emperor's reaction, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and disappeared in a flash. The great emperor of the Dark Demon tribe did not think much about Mo Qingyun's disappearance. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's disappearance should have been due to him hiding in a formation restriction. After that, he charged towards Dark Dawn to assist his two clansmen. At that moment, when he turned around to help his tribesmen, many figures appeared in front of him. Mo Qingyun's sudden appearance immediately frightened him and his eyelids kept twitching. This was because he realized that 10 Mo Qingyun had appeared in front of him and were slashing at him with their swords. What shocked him even more was that he could not tell which one was the real one and did not know how to block the attack. Poof poof poof, while the great emperor was in a daze, the sword radiance pierced through his body and destroyed his life force. After that, his eyes opened wide as he perished while carrying a strand of unwillingness. Chapter 3007. That great emperor was killed by young master in one strike. He's so strong. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I wouldn't have believed it. No wonder the great saint from the Dark Demon tribe was so afraid of young master. The three Saint Array masters were shocked to see a great emperor expert killed by Mo Qingyun's sword. From Mo Qingyun's previous performance, they could see that Mo Qingyun was very strong. However, they didn't know exactly how strong Mo Qingyun was. Now, however, they were completely aware. Mo Qingyun's strength had far exceeded their expectations. While the three Saint Array masters were shocked, they were also secretly delighted. Now that Mo Qingyun had killed one of the three great emperors from the Dark Demon tribe, their situation had taken a turn for the better. With Mo Qingyun's shocking strength, facing two ordinary great emperors alone wasn't much of a problem. As for Zi Shao, he could leave it to Enchen to deal with. In this way, the outcome of the battle would be unknown. Oh no, Ziguan has been killed. That kid is so strong. We've been fooled. What a despicable kid. He actually used such a sinister method. Seeing their comrade killed, the remaining two great emperors from the Dark Demon tribe panicked. With their strength, they definitely couldn't contend against Mo Qingyun and Enchen. Immediately after, they looked at Mo Qingyun with intense fear in their eyes. At the same time, a strong sense of regret emerged in their hearts. If they had listened to Zi Shao and not rashly chased after Mo Qingyun, they wouldn't be in such a situation. Boom! While the two great emperors from the Dark Demon tribe were afraid, a deafening sound came from behind them. Immediately, they saw Zi Zhao's figure appear not far behind them. Supreme Saint Zi Zhao. Seeing Zi Zhao break the formation and come to their rescue, the two great emperors from the Dark Demon tribe were pleasantly surprised. In their opinion, with Zi Zhao's help, their crisis was resolved. You broke the formation so quickly. Looks like you've improved a lot recently. Seeing Zi Zhao break the formation, Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with surprise. He looked at Zi Zhao with a faint smile. Hearing Mo Qingyun's faint smile, Zi Zhao's face darkened. Humph! No matter how cunning you are, the same move won't have any effect on this old man. Is that so? Mo Qingyun grinned, pointing at Aster's corpse. You're a little late. Not long ago, I killed someone. Looking in the direction Mo Qingyun was pointing, Zi Zhao saw Aster's corpse, and his face turned ashen. Although the Dark Devil race was very powerful, it was still a great loss to lose a great Emperor realm expert. Moreover, close to 10 great emperors from the Dark Demon tribe had died at Mo Qingyun's hands. Thinking of this, Zi Zhao was so angry that his body trembled. Retreat. Although he was furious, Zi Zhao did not lose his rationality. He immediately ordered the two great emperors beside him. He knew Mo Qingyun's methods. With their strength, they would not be able to suppress Mo Qingyun. Besides, Mo Qingyun had too many tricks up his sleeve. He might have other tricks up his sleeve. Yes. After seeing Mo Qingyun's ability, the remaining two great emperors from the Dark Demon tribe immediately retreated from the passage with Zi Zhao. At this moment, they did not dare to doubt Zi Zhao's words. They had paid a heavy price for their previous doubts. They've retreated. Seeing Zi Zhao and the other two great emperors leave, the three Saint Array masters were overjoyed and excited. One of them stepped forward and walked to Mo Qingyun's side. Mr. Mo, they've left. What should we do now? They've suffered a lot this time. They'll definitely call for reinforcements. We have to leave immediately. After analyzing the situation, Mo Qingyun made a decision. He wasn't willing to stay here any longer. Hearing Mo Qingyun's idea, one of the Saint Array masters was puzzled. Master, we have the advantage of the passage's formation. We can suppress them. If we leave the passage, won't we be giving up our advantage? Besides, won't they stop us if they know we're leaving? Mo Qingyun had a solemn expression when he heard the old man's question. He said, Of course they will. However, even if they try to stop us, we still have to leave. If we don't leave now, we'll really be trapped once their reinforcements arrive. With that, Mo Qingyun did not want to waste any more time. He immediately walked out of the passage. The three Saint Array masters dared not hesitate when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. They immediately followed behind Mo Qingyun. Kill. After emerging from the passage, Mo Qingyun directly charged towards Zi Zhao and the others with a flash. And Chern moved as well when he saw Mo Qingyun's actions. He attacked together with Mo Qingyun. When Mo Qingyun and the other two took the initiative to attack, Zi Zhao and the other two were so frightened that they panicked and retreated with fear. As he knew how difficult Mo Qingyun was to deal with, Zi Zhao did not dare to attack recklessly before he understood Mo Qingyun. Zi Zhao, you really are becoming more and more cowardly. Mo Qingyun smiled scornfully when he saw the three of them retreat. He shook his head at him and said, Since you don't want to fight, I won't keep you company. As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he took out the Thunder Shuttle flying boat and prepared to control it to leave. The three Saint Array masters panicked when they saw Mo Qingyun's actions. They became anxious. If they did not attack, Mo Qingyun and the others would leave. If they let Mo Qingyun leave, it would be difficult to find him again. Most importantly, it was very likely that the blood-refining spiritual pivot they were looking for was on Mo Qingyun. However, even if they tried to stop him, they might not be Mo Qingyun's opponent. It was just too difficult to make a choice. As Zi Zhao hesitated, the lightning shuttle flew 10,000 meters away with a flash of light. Crack, crack, crack. As he watched Emo Qingyun and the others leave, Zi Xiao was so angry that he clenched his fists tightly. However, after hesitating for a long while, he gave up on the chase. He did not dare to take the slightest risk. Supreme Saint Zi Xiao, are we really going to let him leave like this? An emperor from the dark demon race asked in confusion when Zi Xiao did not give the order to pursue. Hearing his question, Zi Xiao sighed and nodded. You just fought with Emo Qingyun, so you should know what he's capable of. Do you think we'll be able to stop them if we rush up? The two of them shook their heads and reluctantly accepted this fact. Although they did not want to admit it, they had to admit that they were not Emo Qingyun's opponent. Chapter 3008. They don't seem to be chasing after us? The three Saint Array masters on the lightning shuttle gradually relaxed when they saw that Zi Xiao and the rest weren't chasing after them. Emo Qingyun's expression turned solemn when he saw their expressions. He said to the three of them, "Don't be careless. We are still in the Dark Devil Race's territory and haven't entered the 5-star region yet. We can't let our guard down." Upon hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the expressions of the three Sacred Array Masters tensed up again. Currently, the Dark Devil Race was in control of the 1 to 4-star regions. Emo Qingyun and the rest were in the hinterland of the Dark Devil Race. Their situation was self-evident. "Young Master, will they send people to intercept us along the way?" One of the Saint Array Masters asked Emo Qingyun worriedly after he heard Emo Qingyun's reminder. Emo Qingyun replied with a grave expression, "I'm not sure if they will send people to intercept you, but they will definitely send people to intercept me." The three of them were shocked when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. Their eyes widened in shock. At the same time, they were curious to know why Emo Qingyun said that. Emo Qingyun didn't bother to explain the confusion in their hearts. With a calm expression, he said, "Now I'll give you a choice. The first is to separate from me and find a way to escape the pursuit of the dark demons. The second is to join my sect, and I'll take you with me to escape. Of course, in the process of escaping with me, you may encounter many pursuers, dangers, and encirclements. However, since you have joined my sect, I will do my best to protect you." As Emo Qingyun spoke, he calmly looked at the three of them and waited for their reply. Although the three of them had helped him break the restriction on the blood-colored mountain peak, they had given him a lot of help. But he had saved the three of them and was repaying them for their help. Therefore, Emo Qingyun had no obligation to continue fleeing with them. Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, the three of them trembled and a trace of panic appeared on their faces. The three of them knew very well what their situation would be like without Emo Qingyun's protection. However, they felt that it was difficult for them to join the true absolute beginning Devil Palace. However, they were also very clear that they could not have their cake and eat it too. If they did not join the true beginning Devil Palace, Missouri Qingyun had no obligation to protect them. After a while, the three of them discussed and came to a decision. "We are willing to follow you and join your sect." After the three of them made their decision, they bowed to Emo Qingyun with solemn expressions. Seeing their decision, Emo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and said, "Although you have made your decision, I will take you with me. However, let me make it clear first. If the three of you dare to go back on your word, I will hunt you down across the myriad worlds." As Emo Qingyun said that, he radiated with coldness that enveloped the three of them. "And we won't." The three of them all trembled when they sensed Emo Qingyun's presence. They hurriedly explained to Emo Qingyun. They all knew that Emo Qingyun was warning them because he was worried that their decision was only a choice of benefit. Emo Qingyun didn't care about the three's explanation. He focused on controlling the Thunder Shuttle flying ship. As he hurried along, Emo Qingyun said with a tense expression, "Chen, remain vigilant at all times along the way. Be wary of the great saints of the dark demon race. Also, be careful of the presence of saint emperors of the dark demon race. When Emo Qingyun mentioned Saint Emperors, their faces clearly became tense. They became fearful. With his current strength, dealing with great saints was nothing difficult, but fighting against Saint Emperors was not very likely. He did not know whether Chern could fight against Saint Emperors or not, but he did not want to take the risk. Yes, sir. Chern nodded in a hurry when he heard Emo Qingyun's orders. Emo Qingyun said a few things to Chern before he focused on controlling the flying shuttle. He hurried back to the True Demon Hall. The 3 Saint Formation Masters on the side all became tense when they heard Emo Qingyun and Chen's conversation. They could vaguely sense that the journey with Emo Qingyun would not be peaceful or safe. Under the full speed of the flying shuttle, they hurried along the way and entered the region of the 4-star organization very soon. We've entered the region of the 4-star organization. This is the last stop for the Dark Demon race. Emo Qingyun's expression became even more tense when they entered the region of the 4-star organization. He reminded Chern again. Chen's expression also became tense when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. He became even more cautious. A few days later, under Emo Qingyun and the others' careful journey, they left the region of the 4-star organization and successfully entered the region of the 5-star organization. This result surprised them very much. The Dark Demon race had not attacked them along the way. We've entered the region of the 5-star organization. There should be no danger. Although the Dark Demon race's behavior has exceeded our expectations, this is without a doubt the best result. It's a false alarm. It's better than a narrow escape. The 3 Saint Formation Masters sighed with lingering fear. Emo Qingyun's expression relaxed as he listened to the 3's relaxed words. His heart that had been hanging in the air also relaxed a little. To him, it did not matter what the process was like. It was best to return safely. After passing through the Zhenyuan star zone, we'll reach the boundary of the Tai Chu star zone. After flipping through the map, Emo Qingyun confirmed his location. His expression became much more relaxed. As long as they entered the Tai Chu star zone, they would be completely safe. Not long after, Emo Qingyun and the others controlled the flying shuttle and entered the Zhenyuan star zone. What a terrifying formation energy fluctuation. It's at least a level 9 Saint Formation energy fluctuation. Oh no, this is a level 9 Saint Formation, the Zhenyuan ceiling formation. Who set up such a formation here? The 3 Saint Formation Masters were shocked when they sensed the terrifying formation energy fluctuation. Emo Qingyun also felt the formation energy fluctuation as soon as it erupted. His expression immediately tensed up. The Dark Demon race has actually set foot in the region of the 5-star organization. It seems that I've underestimated their methods. Moreover, they've prepared such a huge gift and are waiting for us to enter the cage. As Emo Qingyun uttered these shocking words, his mind was racing as he tried to think of a way to get out of the suppressing origin sealing array. Chern sensed the situation around him. His expression also tensed up. He reminded Emo Qingyun, this formation will automatically shrink the region and search for its target. Based on the speed of its shrinking, it'll be able to find us in half a month. Emo Qingyun and the others were shocked when they heard Chen's words. Their uneasiness immediately grew to the extreme. Chapter 3009. We only have half a month. It's not enough time to break the formation. We can't even find the foundation of the formation in half a month, let alone break it. Then what should we do? Are we just going to sit here and wait for death? Knowing the situation they were in, the 3 Saint Array Masters looked worried and at a loss as to what to do. Compared to the 3 in front of him, Emo Qingyun was very calm and did not show the slightest hint of panic. Frowning slightly, Emo Qingyun comforted the 3 and said, "It's because the situation is not optimistic that you can't panic. Only by maintaining enough rationality can you better think of a way to resolve the crisis." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the three Saint Formation Masters' expressions changed and the panic on their faces lessened a little. What Emo Qingyun said was true. Panicking wouldn't solve the problem. One had to think calmly. Mr. Emo, if you have any instructions, we will do our best to cooperate with you. The three of them regained their composure and waited for Emo Qingyun's instructions with a serious face. Under the three's gaze, Emo Qingyun thought for a while and said to them unhurriedly, "The space in the Jinyuan starfield is very large. If we hide wholeheartedly, they may not be able to find us. Let's find a place to settle down first. After you've settled down, I'll try again to see if we can get out of the Jinyuan lockdown formation." After explaining his idea to the three, Emo Qingyun steered the Thunder Shuttle airship and hurried on. After a while, with Emo Qingyun hurrying on, they arrived at an ordinary continent. "The three of you wait here. I'll try to get through the Jinyuan lockdown formation." After settling the three of them down, Emo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he disappeared from where he stood. Emo Qingyun's figure flashed a few times and arrived at the edge of the Jinyuan starfield. He tried to leave the area. Pegasus of Saint Power. A pure wave of Saint Power emanated from Emo Qingyun's body and condensed into a Pegasus of Saint Power. After the Holy Power Pegasus was formed, Emo Qingyun rode on it and disappeared. Then, an invisible light wave flashed from not far away. The light waves flickered a few times, and a figure slowly appeared, turning into Emo Qingyun's figure. As expected of a level 9 sacred array. Its power has already surpassed the level of a sacred array. Seeing that his exit was blocked, Emo Qingyun frowned, but he wasn't too surprised. A grade 8 holy array was enough to trap an Emperor realm expert. A grade 9 holy array was already beyond the realm of holy arrays. It was normal for it to be so powerful. "Master, if you want to leave this formation, you only need to cultivate the heavenly horse crossing realms to both wings." Just as Emo Qingyun's heart was heavy, and he was having a headache over the current situation, An Chen's voice appeared in his mind. Emo Qingyun frowned when he heard An Chen's reminder. He said, "That's not a bad idea. It's just that it's extraordinarily difficult to cultivate the heavenly horse's leap to the level of 2 wings in 15 days. Although he knew it would be difficult, Emo Qingyun didn't give up. He decided to try this method. In his opinion, even if he couldn't leave the formation, he could fly fast enough and run faster. Seeing that he couldn't leave through the formation, Emo Qingyun moved and returned to the main road. "Master, how is it? Can we leave this place?" Seeing that Emo Qingyun had returned, the three of them were nervous and hurriedly asked about the situation. Hearing their questions, Emo Qingyun shook his head and said, "The level of this formation is too high. Even if I use a divine ability, I can't get out." The three of them paled and despair appeared on their faces. Even Emo Qingyun couldn't do anything. They were really doomed this time. After explaining the situation to the three of them, Emo Qingyun continued, "During this time, I need to cultivate a divine ability. I'll bring the three of you to a place. Next, there will be a force on your body. Do not resist or resist." Listening to Emo Qingyun's instructions, the three of them looked at each other with confusion and doubt. At the same time, they were very curious about what Emo Qingyun was going to do. After giving the three of them the instructions, Emo Qingyun didn't hesitate and directly brought them to the Fortune mainland. "Where is this?" The three of them were shocked when they entered the Fortune mainland. They looked around curiously. Emo Qingyun ignored their questions and said to them seriously, "For the time being, all of you will stay here. Remember not to walk around casually, otherwise don't blame me for being impolite." "Yes." Hearing Emo Qingyun's instructions, the three of them immediately nodded with fear and trepidation. As they continued to interact with Emo Qingyun, the feeling that Emo Qingyun gave them became more and more mysterious. It was precisely because of this that their impression of Emo Qingyun became more and more reverent. After giving the three of them some instructions, Emo Qingyun didn't stay any longer. He went to one of the indigenous tribes on the Fortune mainland. "You're the one." Emo Qingyun's gaze swept over the crowd and picked a target. He raised his hand and pulled the person to his side. This was a young man with a galaxy realm cultivation. He looked very ordinary. "You're the Lord Creation God." When the young man saw Emo Qingyun's appearance, he immediately revealed a pious expression and knelt down in front of Emo Qingyun. When Emo Qingyun had been cultivating, he had caused some strange phenomena in the world, which had been witnessed by some of them. Therefore, in their hearts, Emo Qingyun was the world creation god who could create all things. Emo Qingyun didn't care about the young man's actions. He quickly formed a hand seal and hit the young man. Soon, the hand seal entered the young man's body, allowing Emo Qingyun to sense the young man's body. After Emo Qingyun did all this, he solemnly said to the young man, "I want to give you a test. I'll send you to a place to train. If you can survive for half a month, I'll bring you back and reward you handsomely. Rest assured, world creation god Suo Chi will not let you down." Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, the young man was overjoyed and promised excitedly. Looking at Suo Chi's performance, Emo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction and sent him out of the Fortune mainland. After sending Suo Chi out, Emo Qingyun revealed a satisfied smile and said, "With Suo Chi's galaxy realm cultivation, he won't attract anyone's attention in the vast Jin Yuan star field. Let him pay attention to the situation outside and sense the changes in the Jin Yuan domain ceiling formation." Emo Qingyun thought in his heart, if the Jin Yuan domain ceiling formation removed this mainland in half a month, he wouldn't need to hide anymore. There was no need for him to hide anymore. He could directly control the Thunder Shuttle and leave. If he was still trapped in the formation, he could observe the situation outside while cultivating the heavenly horse crossing realm leap. Chapter 30:10. Unchurn, what level of cultivation have you reached to be able to break through the formation by force? Emo Qingyun had been communicating with Unchurn through his consciousness while he was cultivating, trying to think of other method. Unchurn pondered for a moment when he heard Emo Qingyun's question before he answered, "Master, although this formation isn't weak, it's still a false world formation. If my cultivation reaches the level of a Saint Emperor, it won't be too difficult to tear a hole in it by force." Unchen's answer immediately made Emo Qingyun happy. He felt a lot more confident. Unchen's answer was equivalent to an additional way out for him. False world formation? Thinking of Emo Qingyun's choice of words, Emo Qingyun was a little puzzled. Seeing Emo Qingyun's puzzled expression, Unchurn explained, "Master, a saint array relies on the power of the stars to set up a formation, while a world formation relies on the power of the stars to set up a formation. Its power is far from what a saint array can compare to. This so-called suppressing Yuan domain ceiling formation should be an incomplete formation that was modified bit by someone. So that's how it is." After listening to Unchen's explanation, Emo Qingyun nodded in understanding. He understood a little more in his heart. Soon after, Emo Qingyun made a clear decision in his heart. He said, "It seems like it's much easier to break through the true origin ceiling formation. If it really doesn't work, I'll just hide on the Fortune continent and not go out. Unless I cultivate the heavenly horse crossing realms to the level of 2 wings, or Unchen's cultivation reaches the level of a Saint Emperor." With this thought in mind, Emo Qingyun instructed Unchen, "I'll stay on the Fortune continent for a while. I won't encounter any danger. During this period of time, you should also concentrate on your cultivation and try to break through to the Saint Emperor realm as soon as possible." Unchen's cultivation breaking through to the Saint Emperor realm was a good thing for Emo Qingyun, whether it was to tear apart the true origin ceiling formation and leave or for other reasons. The deterrence of a Saint Emperor powerhouse was not something a great Saint powerhouse could compare to. If the true beginning Devil Palace had a Saint Emperor expert, Even the dark devil race would have to be wary and apprehensive when dealing with them. Yes. And Chen immediately understood Mo Qingyun's instructions. Immediately, An Chen's figure flashed as he flew towards the Hong Mist Sea. Dark dawn headed to the primordial fog sea. Mo Qingyun's footsteps didn't stop as he continued to cultivate the heavenly horse's realm leap. Under Mo Qingyun's wholehearted cultivation, his comprehension of the heavenly horse crossing realm leap also became more and more thorough. Slowly, 2 faint shadows of wings began to appear on the Saint Energy flying horse that he had condensed. If this continues, I'll be able to condense a 2-winged heavenly horse in a month at most. Mo Qingyun was overjoyed when he saw his cultivation progress. He said excitedly, "Although I've spent a lot more time than I expected, it's still a pretty good result to condense a 2-winged heavenly horse in a month." After checking his situation, Mo Qingyun did not cultivate immediately. Instead, he used his connection with Suo Qi to observe the situation outside. After Mo Qingyun's observation, he discovered that the shrinking of the true origin ceiling formation was not the shrinking of the formation's range. Instead, it was the shrinking of the region selected by the formation. In other words, even if 15 days had passed, the area covered by the formation would not have changed at all. As a result, Mo Qingyun could only rely on 2 methods to leave the formation. The first was to cultivate the heavenly horse crossing realms to the level of 2-winged heavenly horse crossing realms. The second was for An Chen to break through to Saint Emperor. If that's the case, I'll cultivate for another month. After understanding his situation, Mo Qingyun did not think too much about it and appeared very calm. At the same time, he also wanted to summon Suo Qi back and give him a reward. After doing all this, Mo Qingyun once again immersed himself in cultivation and no longer cared about the situation in the Zhen Yuan starfield. 15 days passed quickly. In the Zhen Yuan starfield's largest sect, the Zhen Yuan Saint Palace's meeting hall. At this moment, a group of people sat together in the hall with a gloomy expression. If Mo Qingyun was here, he would definitely see 2 familiar faces in the crowd. It's been 15 days. We've searched the entire Zhen Yuan starfield. Why haven't we found Mo Qingyun yet? Sitting at the top of the hall, a burly middle-aged man questioned the crowd with dissatisfaction. Hearing the middle-aged man's question, everyone in the hall lowered their heads and kept quiet. After a moment of silence, a young man in a brocade robe said with a cold expression, "Saint Emperor Zijugu, Mo Qingyun is very cunning. He must have used some means to hide from our perception and search. However, I can guarantee with my life that he must still be hiding in the Zhen Yuan starfield." As soon as the young man finished speaking, an old man hurriedly added. Hearing the 2's words, Zijugu, who was sitting at the top of the hall, looked slightly better. He said, "Demon Sun Qinglong, Elder Zishao, you 2 have fought Mo Qingyun the most and know him the best. Do you have a good plan to deal with him?" Zijugu's direct question made Zi Qinglong and Elder Zi silent. They were thinking about how to deal with Mo Qingyun. To be honest, they really did not have a way to deal with Mo Qingyun. If they did, they would not have been defeated so miserably every time they clashed with Mo Qingyun. Zishao thought for a while and sneered. He said, "From my observations, I've discovered that Mo Qingyun is very sentimental. His little lover, Lei Muan, is in the Taichu True Demon Hall in the neighboring starfield. If we take down the Taichu True Demon Hall and capture his lover, I don't believe he'll be able to remain calm. Although it's a little crude, it's indeed an excellent way to deal with Mo Qingyun." Although Zi Qinglong was rather disdainful of Zi Zhao's suggestion, he still nodded in agreement. Zi Juekong looked troubled when he heard Zi Qinglong and Elder Zi's suggestion. He seemed to be hesitant. He said, "Our whereabouts have been exposed. It's said that a Saint Emperor of the Alliance has brought many great saints into the Taichu starfield. It'll be very difficult for us to take down the Taichu True Demon without anyone knowing." If we use brute force, it's hard to guarantee that there won't be huge losses. Is it worth it for Mo Qingyun? Zi Qinglong was immediately shocked when he saw Zi Jugu's reaction. He said, Saint Emperor Zi Jugu, you haven't fought with Mo Qingyun before. You can't understand how monstrous he is. In my opinion, as long as we can kill Mo Qingyun, it's worth it no matter what the cost is. Zi Jugu made a decision after hearing Zi Qinglong's words. He said, pass down my orders. We'll attack the Taichu True Demon Hall immediately. With Zi Jugu's orders, Zi Qinglong and the others began to move. They reorganized their forces and attacked the Taichu True Demon Hall. Chapter 30:11. A group of people stood silently in the sky above the True Demon Hall, radiating with terrifying presences. The people of the True Demon Hall all revealed terrified expressions when they were enveloped by the presences. Saint Emperor Zhuo Qinglong has come personally. Lei Muwen, come out and receive him. Among the people in the sky above the True Absolute Beginning Devil Hall, a middle-aged man wearing a large robe with a black bear pattern shouted with a dark expression. His voice spread through the entire True Demon Hall very quickly, attracting the attention of Lei Muwen and the others. They all flew up to receive him. Before long, Lei Muwen, Babel, Lei Yi, and the others arrived before Zhuo Qinglong and the others. Seeing Lei Muwen and the others appear, a kind-looking emperor nodded at her with a faint smile. Hall Master Lei, Saint Emperor Zhuo Qinglong has come personally. You have to give him face. Lei Muwen nodded politely in response to the old man's words, but she didn't say anything. She had some impression of the old man. He was the emperor who had come to invite her last time. Nodding at him, Lei Muwen looked at Zhuo Qinglong and the others. She said, Greetings, Saint Emperor, Supreme Saints and Emperors. I didn't know you were all here, so I didn't come out to greet you. Please forgive me. Everyone's expressions improved when they saw Lei Muwen's attitude. Looking at the current situation, Lei Muwen was still quite sensible. She wasn't so unappreciative. Everyone, you've come from afar. Please come with me to the sect. After greeting everyone, Lei Muwen made an inviting gesture and led everyone to the discussion hall. Seeing Lei Muwen's decision, Zhuo Qinglong and the others nodded and followed behind her. Before long, everyone arrived in the hall and found a place to sit. After everyone sat down, Lei Muwen asked Zhuo Qinglong with a humble expression, I believe the Saint Emperor hasn't come personally just to ask me to join the alliance, right? Lei Muwen had already thought it through. Given the current situation, she could only join the alliance first. Hearing Lei Muwen's words, the middle-aged man in the robe immediately showed displeasure. He said, If it weren't for Saint Emperor Zhuo Qinglong's benevolence, do you really think we would care about the survival of the True Demon Hall? Lei Muwen frowned when she saw the other party's attitude. Her expression gradually turned cold. Great Black Bear, we're all on the same side. Let's not hurt each other. Seeing the displeasure on Lei Muwen's face, the good-natured Great Emperor immediately stepped forward to smooth things over. Hall Master Lei, you may not know this, but the Zhen Yuan Star Zone, which is adjacent to the Tai Chu Star Zone, has already fallen under the control of the Dark Devil race. If I'm not wrong, the Dark Demon race's next target will be the True Demon Star Domain. That's why we're here. After hearing the Great Emperor's explanation, Lei Muwen's expression turned for the better and she felt grateful. She said, If that's the case, I've thought too much. I apologize for that. Seeing Lei Muwen's attitude, the Great Black Bear and the others' expressions turned for the better. At this moment, Zhuo Qinglong, who had been silent all this while, said with a serious expression, From today onwards, I'll be in charge of everything in the True Demon Star Domain. Hall Master Lei, please stay by my side and assist me. Hearing Zhuo Qinglong's words, Lei Yi and the others became unhappy. Now that the True Demon Hall was in danger, the True Demon Hall was very grateful that they came to help. However, they took over the True Demon Hall as soon as they arrived and seized control of the True Demon Hall. This was too overbearing. What was the difference between this and the Dark Demon race? We'll follow the Holy Emperor's arrangements. Although she was very unhappy, Lei Muan endured it and obeyed Zhuo Qinglong's orders. Her thoughts were clear. Everything would wait until Mo Qingyun returned. Furthermore, they needed their strength to fight against the Dark Demon race. At this moment, as everyone was discussing, Polar Snow entered the hall with a serious expression. "How dare you barge into the hall when the Holy Emperor is here? How rude!" Seeing that Polar Snow entered the hall without announcing his arrival, the Black Bear Grand Sage scolded him unhappily. Then, with a wave of his arm, he sent Polar Snow flying with a palm strike. Seeing Black Bear's action, Lei Muan's face darkened. She looked like she was about to fight Black Bear. She said angrily, "Black Bear Grand Sage, don't go too far. Apologize to Hall Master Polar Snow immediately. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." Lei Muan was so angry because she respected Polar Snow. Furthermore, Polar Snow was Mo Qingyun's grandmaster. The Black Bear Grand Sage injured Polar Snow in front of her. This was something she could not tolerate. "Hall Master, calm down." Seeing Lei Muan's actions, Lei Guiyi and the rest were shocked. They quickly tried to persuade her. Zhuo Qinglong and the rest were shocked when they saw Lei Muan's sudden outburst. Just now, when they seized the control of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall, Lei Muan did not show the slightest bit of anger. Who would have thought that the Black Bear Grand Sage would be so angry after injuring a Hall Master? This should not have happened. The Black Bear Grand Sage did not care about Lei Muan's anger. He said nonchalantly, "He's just an ant in the World Lord realm. If he's injured, so be it. If he wants me to apologize to him, he must be dreaming." Seeing the Black Bear Grand Sage's attitude, Lei Muan was completely enraged. She sent a palm strike towards him. As Lei Muan attacked, a terrifying power of ice and thunder engulfed Black Bear. Seeing Lei Muan's actions, the surrounding people were shocked, and a strong sense of shock arose in their hearts. They did not expect that Lei Muan would actually make a move, and in such a decisive manner. What shocked them even more was that Lei Muan's strength was close to that of a great saint. "Humph! You're overestimating yourself." Facing Lei Muan's attack, the Black Bear Grand Sage was not afraid at all. He immediately charged towards her. Seeing the Black Bear and Lei Muan's actions, Great Emperor Zhuo Qinglong's face darkened. He was extremely unhappy. He said, "The two of you, stop immediately." As he spoke, he also struck out with a palm strike. A terrifying power was unleashed. Under Zhuo Qinglong's attack, the two of them were immediately stopped. They stared at each other angrily. Seeing that Lei Muan and the Black Bear Grand Sage were stopped, everyone's expression relaxed. Fear was written all over their faces. If Lei Muan and the Black Bear Grand Sage fought, the consequences would be terrifying. If they decided to fight to the death, it would be a huge headache for the Anti-Demon Alliance. Those who did not know the situation would think that the True Demon Palace was unwilling to join the Anti-Demon Alliance and was being attacked by the Anti-Demon Alliance. When Lei Muan and the Black Bear Grand Sage stopped attacking, Polar Snow was helped into the main hall by Lei Guiyi and the Black Bear Grand Sage. He said, "Palace Master, we just received news that a large group of dark demons is rushing towards the Absolute Beginning Starfield. They seem to want to attack the Absolute Beginning Starfield." Hearing Polar Snow's words, the expressions of everyone in the hall turned grave. Chapter 30:12. The Dark Demon Tribe actually acted just like that. It seems like the True Demon Hall's luck is not bad. If we came a little later, the True Demon Hall might not be able to hold on against the Dark Demon Tribe. This Lei Muan really doesn't know what's good for her. We came to help her, but she still doesn't know what's good for her. I want to see if she can still be so stubborn now that the Dark Demon Tribe is attacking. After knowing that the Dark Demon tribe was attacking, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the rest all revealed arrogant expressions. From their point of view, the true Demon Hall had to lower their heads and ask for help from them. As such a thought appeared in his mind, the Black Bear Grand Sage's face was filled with pride. He looked at Lei Muan and laughed coldly. Lei Muan, I hope you understand the situation. Do not fail to appreciate my kindness. Otherwise, we can just ignore you and allow the Dark Demon tribe to trample and kill you. As the Black Bear Grand Sage said this, many people agreed. They nodded and laughed coldly. After that, everyone's gazes descended onto Lei Muan as they waited for her to make a wise choice. Under everyone's gaze, Lei Muan's expression did not change. She looked at them coldly and said, Do you really think that you are much better than the Dark Demon tribe? Lei Muan's words shocked everyone. They thought that they had heard wrongly. Lei Muan had actually compared them to the Dark Devil race. Such words were simply too shocking. If they angered the Zhuo Qinglong Holy Emperor, the consequences would be unimaginable. It was not something the true Demon Hall could bear. How dare you? After hearing Lei Muan's words, the Black Bear Grand Sage's face darkened. He immediately shouted at Lei Muan angrily. Lei Muan didn't seem to mind the Black Bear Grand Sage's angry rebuke. Her expression was still cold as she said, Ask yourselves honestly. You've only been in the true Demon Hall for a short while, and you've already seized control of my sect. You've even injured my sect's hallmaster. How is this any different from the Dark Devil tribe? It's nothing more than you all crowning your own conduct with the hat of righteousness. The way I see it, your conduct is even more disgraceful than the Dark Demon race. Lei Muan's taunts and insults infuriated the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others. Their faces turned green as they clenched their fists. Looking at their performance, it seemed that if they could not hold it in any longer, they would slaughter the true absolute beginning Devil Palace. For a moment, the atmosphere in the hall suddenly became tense. Everyone held their breaths, not daring to make the slightest sound. They had become the fuse for the eruption of the battle. Forget it. Looks like we've been too nosy. Let's leave now. Just as everyone's thoughts were heavy and they were silent, the Zhuo Qinglong Holy Emperor broke the silence. He looked at Lei Muan meaningfully and said, Hallmaster Lei, I'm very sorry for our previous conduct. We'll leave the true Demon Hall now. After the Zhuo Qinglong Holy Emperor finished speaking, he stood up and walked out of the hall. Holy Emperor Lei Muan, seeing the Zhuo Qinglong Holy Emperor's actions, the Black Bear Grand Sage was unwilling to accept it. He hurriedly tried to persuade him. After hearing the Black Bear Grand Sage's words, the Zhuo Qinglong Holy Emperor understood what he was thinking. He shook his head and said, Black Bear Grand Sage, we were indeed in the wrong. You don't have to say anything more. We'll return now. Yes. Seeing the Zhuo Qinglong Holy Emperor's intentions, the Black Bear Grand Sage suppressed his anger and nodded his head reluctantly. Then, he looked at Lei Muan coldly and said proudly, Lei Muan, if you want me to apologize, you'll have to survive the Dark Demon race first. After the Black Bear Grand Sage finished speaking, he waved his sleeves and walked away proudly with his head held high. After a while, everyone who came with the Zhuo Qinglong Holy Emperor left the hall. After seeing Zhuo Qinglong and the others leave, Lei Muan's face tensed up and she looked very serious. She was very clear that with the current strength of the true beginning Devil Hall, it was impossible for them to be a match for the Dark Devil race. Hallmaster, what do we do now? After seeing Zhuo Qinglong and the others leave, Lei Yi looked very nervous and immediately asked Lei Muan for her opinion. After hearing Lei Yi's question, Lei Muan shook her head and said, I don't know what to do either. We'll just have to deal with whatever comes our way. I wonder how Qing Yun is doing now. Did his search for the Emperor Blood Essence Jade go smoothly? Sensing the oppressive atmosphere in the Great Hall, Polar Frost's face was full of self-blame as he said, It's all my fault for being too flustered. If I had not rushed into the hall and angered the Black Bear Grand Sage, this would not have happened. Hall Master Polar Snow, this has nothing to do with you. Lei Muwen comforted Polar Snow when she saw how self-reproachful Polar Snow was. She continued, "Given Zhua Qinglong and the others' arrogance, even if we didn't provoke them, it's only a matter of time before they use their power to oppress us." Everyone nodded and agreed with Lei Muwen's words. Lei Muwen muttered to herself. Then, she said to Lei Gyi and the others, "Activate the Sex Protective Formation immediately. Be prepared for the Dark Demon Race's attack." Yes. Hearing Lei Muwen's order, everyone nodded immediately. After everyone left, Lei Muwen took a deep breath and a determined look appeared on her face. In the Fortune mainland, just as Mo Qinyun was concentrating on cultivating and preparing to form the two-winged Saint Energy Pegasus, a terrifying wave of Saint Energy rippled over. The source of the Saint Energy ripple was the Hong Meng Fog Sea that Chen cultivated in. This Saint Energy ripple, could it be that Chen's cultivation base has broken through? Sensing the Saint Energy ripple, Mo Qingyun's face lit up and he immediately flew toward the Hong Meng Fog Sea. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the side of the Hong Meng Fog Sea and saw Chen swimming closer. "Master, I've successfully broken through to the Saint Emperor realm. I can tear open the Yuan sealing formation and leave now." Arriving in front of Mo Qingyun, Chen's face lit up with joy as he described his current situation. Hearing Chen's words, Mo Qingyun smiled excitedly and said, "In that case, let's not delay any longer and leave this place immediately." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he and Chen left the Fortune mainland in a flicker. After leaving the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun's brows were tightly knitted together as a strong sense of suspicion rose in his heart. He said, "The Yuan sealing formation's energy ripple seems to have weakened a lot compared to before. Did the Dark Devil race stop searching?" "Indeed, they're not searching." Chen nodded solemnly in response to Mo Qingyun's suspicion. Hearing Chen's confirmation, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat as a strong sense of unease rose in his heart. He said, "With the Dark Devil race's personality, they definitely won't let me go so easily. This place is adjacent to the Absolute Beginning Starfield. They might attack the True Beginning Devil Palace and capture Mu Wan and the others to force me to show myself." As soon as this thought appeared, Mo Qingyun felt a strong sense of worry. He wished he could return to the True Beginning Devil Palace immediately. Chapter 30:13. Not far from the True Demonic Palace, a group of people with powerful auras suddenly stopped in midair and looked towards the True Absolute Beginning Devil Hall. Among this group of people, a middle-aged man wearing a robe with a black bear pattern said with a displeased expression, "Holy Emperor, that Lei Muwen was so rude. I don't think we should let her off so easily." As soon as he said that, a few people around him nodded in agreement and expressed their support for his idea. Seeing their reactions, the Zhua Qinglong Holy Emperor shook his head, and a look of shame appeared on his face. He said, "Indeed, we went overboard. Lei Muwen is right. Our actions are no different from the Dark Demon tribe." "Holy Emperor, why are you?" Zhua Qinglong's attitude shocked the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others. They all looked at each other. They never thought that the Zhua Qinglong Holy Emperor was not angry at all after Lei Muwen's mocking. "There's no need to say anything more." Before the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others could speak, Zhua Qinglong interrupted him and said with a resolute expression, "The True Demonic Palace is located in an important location. If the Dark Demon tribe occupies it, it won't be a good thing for us. We can't let our emotions affect our decisions. Let's rush back immediately and assist Palace Master Lei Muwen to resist the Dark Demon tribe's attack." After the Zhua Qinglong Holy Emperor finished speaking, he returned to the True Demonic Palace. Everyone was stunned. Seeing the Zhua Qinglong Holy Emperor fly further and further away, everyone started to discuss softly and wondered if they should follow him. Holy Emperor, for the sake of the bigger picture, we should give our full support. For the sake of the Holy Emperor, there's no harm in helping the true demonic palace once. I hope that Lei Muan will know her place this time and stop being so rude. A few people were annoyed and chased after Zhuo Qinglong. Before long, everyone returned to the true demonic palace. Lei Muan and the others were shocked again. Lei Muan's face tensed up when she saw Zhuo Qinglong and the others return. She looked at them from within the protective formation and said, "Everyone, why have you come back? Is there something you need?" When Lei Muan said this, she had a guarded expression on her face. Seeing Lei Muan's attitude, the Black Bear Grand Sage was immediately displeased. He said coldly, "Lei Muan, the left Qinglong Holy Emperor is worried about the safety of the true Demon Hall and has decided to stay behind to help you. Hurry up and open the protective formation so that we can enter the sect to rest." When she heard the Black Bear Grand Sage's rebuke, Lei Muan's brows furrowed and her expression was one of suspicion. In her opinion, Zhuo Qinglong and the others had most likely returned to seek revenge from them. While she was worried that they would come for revenge, Lei Muan was also thinking in her heart that if they really came to help and she refused to let them in, wouldn't that be too tactless? At that moment, Lei Muan hesitated and didn't know how to make a decision. "Hall Master, if these people really want revenge, we can't stop them." Seeing Lei Muan's heavy expression and hesitant look, Polar Snow cautiously reminded her from the side. When she heard Polar Snow's words, Lei Muan nodded her head knowingly. She felt that Polar Snow was right. Then, Lei Muan didn't think too much. She nodded at Lei Yi and the others and said, "Open the protective formation and let them in." "Yes." Lei Yi and the others nodded their heads in response. Before long, the protective formation was opened. Lei Muan raised her hand at everyone and said, "Everyone, thank you for your kind intentions. Please follow me into the sect." At that moment, Lei Muan wasn't as courteous as before when she greeted everyone. When they saw Lei Muan's attitude, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others' expressions turned ugly. When he saw the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others' reactions, Zhuo Qinglong frowned and hinted at them with his eyes. When he sensed Zhuo Qinglong's gaze, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others gritted their teeth and suppressed their anger. Before long, everyone returned to the pavilion and found a chair to sit on. When they returned to the pavilion, Lei Muan was surprised to see that Zhuo Qinglong didn't sit on the central seat. "Holy Emperor, what are you doing?" When she saw Zhuo Qinglong's actions, Lei Muan was confused and couldn't help but ask him. Hearing Lei Muan's question, Zhuo Qinglong knew what she was thinking. With a magnanimous expression, he said, "Hall Master Lei, you're right. What we did before was indeed a little overboard. Since we're here to help, we can't turn the tables. Otherwise, we'll be no different from the Dark Demon tribe." When she heard Zhuo Qinglong's words, Lei Muan's expression turned even more shocked. She didn't expect Zhuo Qinglong to say something like that and take a step back from her. "You're exaggerating, Holy Emperor. I've been rude before. I hope you can forgive me." Since Zhuo Qinglong took a step back, Lei Muan couldn't be rude and apologized to Zhuo Qinglong. No matter what, Zhuo Qinglong brought a group of powerful cultivators here to resolve the crisis of the true Demon Hall. At that moment, when Lei Muan and the others were talking, a young man walked out of the pavilion. This young man looked nervous. After he entered the pavilion, he walked directly toward Lei Muan. As for the others, they were all ignored by the young man. When they saw the young man's actions, other than Zhuo Qinglong, everyone was unhappy. From their point of view, the disciples of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall were too ignorant of etiquette. Last time, it was a hall master. This time, even a junior dared to offend them. Under his intense anger, the Black Bear Grand Sage, who had been unhappy all this while, stood up from his seat and shouted, "Rude Junior! How dare you come to such an occasion? Get out of the Great Hall!" After the Black Bear Grand Sage finished speaking, He slammed his palm toward the young man and unleashed a terrifying wave of saint power. Black Bear Grand Sage, stop! When she saw the Black Bear Grand Sage's actions, Lei Muan's face darkened and she shouted at him angrily. As Lei Muan shouted, she slammed her palm out and attacked the Black Bear Grand Sage. When they saw Lei Muan's actions, everyone's expressions changed and the dissatisfaction in their hearts intensified. They were here to help the true Demon Hall, but Lei Muan attacked them time and time again. They couldn't tolerate this. Just as everyone was unhappy, the young man saw the Black Bear Grand Sage's actions and his face was filled with disgust. He said coldly, "A dog can't change its habit. How dare you attack me in the true Demon Hall?" After the young man finished speaking, he took out a long sword and charged toward the Black Bear Grand Sage. When they saw the young man's actions, everyone was shocked. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. Chapter 30:14. Is this kid crazy? He wants to fight the Black Bear Grand Sage head-on. This kid is not simple. What a frightening sword technique. Its power is comparable to the full power of a martial emperor. This true Demon Hall is not simple. I didn't expect that apart from Lei Muan, there would be such a kid. If these two grow up, the true Demon Hall has a chance of stabilizing as a 5-star sect. Seeing the youth's performance, everyone was shocked. Under everyone's shocked gazes, the youth's figure flashed and disappeared before their eyes. Seeing the youth's performance, everyone was shocked again and stood up from their chairs. The youth's performance was too shocking. Showing off in front of an expert. Seeing the youth disappear, the Black Bear Grand Sage was also shocked. He pretended to be calm and shouted coldly. After the Black Bear Grand Sage finished speaking, his expression tightened and he looked around cautiously. Looking at his performance, he seemed to be on guard against the youth's sneak attack from behind. Under the Black Bear Grand Sage's full defense, the youth's figure appeared and he was shocked. That was because he realized that 10 youths had appeared around him. Every single one of them was real and he couldn't tell which one was real and which one was fake. They gave him a terrifying aura. Just as the Black Bear Grand Sage was shocked, the youth waved his long sword and slashed out streaks and streaks of sharp sword radiance. You overestimate yourself. Facing the streaks of sword radiance, the Black Bear Grand Sage's expression darkened and he started to swing his fists wildly. As the Black Bear Grand Sage swung his fists, streaks and streaks of domineering fist radiance were unleashed from his fists. Chi. Facing the obstruction of the fist radiance, the sword radiance's attack didn't slow down and it pierced through. Then, everyone saw streaks and streaks of sword radiance explode on the Black Bear Grand Sage's body. Chi. In a short while, the Black Bear Grand Sage's body was riddled with wounds. After being hit by the sword radiance, the Black Bear Grand Sage spat out a mouthful of blood and he half knelt on the ground with a pale face. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were all stunned, and all of them stood there in a daze. Never in their wildest dreams would they have thought that the battle between the youth and the Black Bear Grand Sage would end in such a way. While everyone was still in shock, the youth did not stop. He swung his sword towards the Black Bear Grand Sage. "Young friend, please stop." Seeing the young man wave his sword again, Saint Emperor Qinglong was shocked. He immediately yelled at the young man. He did not hesitate to grab the young man when the great Emperor Qinglong tried to stop him. "Anchun, stop him." The young man did not back down when Saint Emperor Qinglong tried to stop him. He shouted coldly. Then, the crowd saw 10 bewitching starlights blossom from the young man's forehead. The starlight bloomed, and a terrifying wave of saint power erupted from one of the starlights. Soon, a black door of light that emitted a terrifying aura blasted out from one of the stars. What kind of divine ability is this? Qinglong's expression froze as he watched the rapidly approaching black light gate. His eyes were filled with shock. He could clearly feel that the black door of light in front of him posed a threat to his life. Seeing this, Zhuo did not dare to hesitate. He immediately raised his hand to block the black door of light. Azure dragon soars the heavens. Zhuo clenched his fists and punched wildly. Streaks of dragon-shaped fist radiance appeared. The dragon-shaped fist radiance blasted towards the black door of light and collided with it. What shocked everyone was that the dragon-shaped fist radiance did not collide with the black door of light. The dragon-shaped fist radiance seemed to have transcended space and entered the black door of light. It did not cause any ripples. Seeing this, Zhuo face trembled and his eyes widened. This situation was a little too strange for him. Boom! While Zhuo was still in shock, the black door of light enveloped him, and he fell to the ground. Zhuo was trapped in the black door of light. The youth swung his sword and a streak of sword radiance struck the black bear grand sage. Bam! Under the attack of the sword radiance, the black bear grand sage was sent flying out of the pavilion. After the black bear grand sage was sent flying, Lei Muwen landed beside the youth. She smiled brightly and said, "Qing Yun, you're back. I'm sorry for being late. You must have suffered." Looking at the beautiful woman in front of him, Mo Qingyun's gaze softened and he spoke with concern. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lei Muwen's face lit up and she looked very obedient. Seeing Lei Muwen's drastic change, and then looking at Zhuo and the Black Bear Grand Sage, everyone was stunned. Mo Qingyun's performance was too domineering and overbearing. Of course, the most important thing was that Mo Qingyun's strength was too terrifying for them. How is this possible? He's only in the intermediate realm of the Immortal Lord realm. How can he be so powerful? The true Demon Palace has hidden their strength well. They actually have such a monster. No wonder Lei Muwen didn't fear or respect him. If this kid reaches the Great Emperor realm, even the Dark Demon tribe won't be able to resist him. Everyone was shocked. Under everyone's shocked gaze, Mo Qingyun looked in the direction of Zhuo and said, "Qingyun, Senior Zhuo isn't an evil person. He's here to help us. Hurry up and let him out." "Okay." Hearing Lei Muwen's words, Mo Qingyun nodded and asked Chun to retract his abijna. Mo Qingyun's overbearing appearance was to intimidate everyone and also to teach the Black Bear Grand Sage a lesson. He wanted to get back some interest for polar snow. The black light door slowly dissipated and Zhuo figure appeared. However, Zhuo looked very haggard and there were many wounds on his body. "Senior Zhuo, Qin Yun offended you just now. I apologize on his behalf." Lei Muwen immediately bowed to Zhuo with an apologetic look on her face when she saw him. Seeing Lei Muwen's actions, Zhuo waved his hand casually and said, "Hallmaster Lei, there's no need for that. The Black Bear Grand Sage is to blame." If one observed carefully, one would notice that Zhuo gaze was fixed on Mo Qingyun as he spoke. Moreover, there was a strong sense of fear in his eyes as he looked at Mo Qingyun. After apologizing to Zhuo, Lei Muwen pointed at Mo Qingyun proudly and said, "Everyone, let me introduce you. This person beside me is my husband, Mo Qingyun." He was Lei Muwen's husband. Hearing Lei Muwen's introduction, Zhuo and the others were shocked and they couldn't calm down. Mo Qingyun's identity shocked them once again. Previous loading. Next chapters. Chapter 30:15. Qingyun apologizes to you for injuring you just now. I hope you won't take it to heart. Under the shocked gazes of the crowd, Mo Qingyun walked up to Zhuo and bowed humbly as an apology. He looked at Mo Qingyun. Zhuo expression was complicated and he felt very conflicted. He never thought that he would one day be at a disadvantage in the hands of a junior in the World Lord level. No need for formalities. Zhuo sighed and waved his hand at Mo Qingyun. He did not put on any airs. Just as everyone was talking, the Black Bear Grand Sage walked in with a dark expression on his face. As he saw the Black Bear Grand Sage walk in, Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He looked at him with a sinister gaze and shouted, "This is the true beginning demon hall. It's where we receive important guests. Is this a place where you can enter?" After Emo Qingyun finished speaking, he unleashed a powerful aura towards the Black Bear Grand Sage. Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, the Black Bear Grand Sage's face darkened and he gritted his teeth in anger. With his intelligence, he could tell that Emo Qingyun was taking revenge on him for what he did just now. Although he was very frustrated, after seeing Emo Qingyun's power, the Black Bear Grand Sage did not dare to act rashly. Even the Zhua Qinglong Holy Emperor could not stop Emo Qingyun. If he acted rashly, he would only be asking for trouble. He could tell that Emo Qingyun's way of doing things was more domineering than Lemuan. If he angered Emo Qingyun, he would definitely beat him up again. He would not give the Anti-Demon Alliance any face. "Little friend Emo, I apologize to you on behalf of the Black Bear Grand Sage. I hope that this matter can be settled." Seeing the tension in the atmosphere, the Zhua Qinglong Holy Emperor stepped out and helped the Black Bear Grand Sage. Seeing Zhua Qinglong Holy Emperor's actions, Emo Qingyun hesitated for a moment. His expression became friendlier and he said, "Since Elder Zhua Qinglong has asked for mercy, I will not pursue this matter any further. I just hope that this Grand Sage will restrain himself and not break the rules of the true Demon Palace." Seeing that Emo Qingyun was giving him face, Zhua Qinglong's expression turned for the better. He shot a look at the Black Bear Grand Sage and said, "Black Bear Grand Sage, hurry up and apologize to Hallmaster Lei and little friend Emo. Thank them for letting you go. Thank you for your magnanimity." Hearing the Zhua Qinglong Holy Emperor's signal, the Black Bear Grand Sage still bowed towards Emo Qingyun and the Black Bear Grand Sage. Seeing the Black Bear Grand Sage's actions, Emo Qingyun's expression turned better. He turned to the left Qinglong Holy Emperor and asked, "Senior, thank you for coming. How is the situation? Do you have a plan to deal with the Dark Demon race?" When Emo Qingyun asked, he and Lei Muan walked to the top of the hall and sat down. Zhua Qinglong frowned when he heard Emo Qingyun's question. He sighed and said, "The Dark Demons have been dormant for 1,000,000 years, and now they're making a comeback. This time they're unstoppable. Even if we form an alliance against them, it won't be a last-ditch struggle." Emo Qingyun's expression darkened when he heard Zhua Qinglong's words. He did not expect the Dark Demon race to be so powerful that the Anti-Demon Alliance could not resist them. No wonder in less than a month, the 1-star to 4-star powers have been conquered. After knowing the true strength of the Dark Demon race, Emo Qingyun did not have any doubts about the 1-star to 4-star powers being conquered. Thinking about the situation in the Zhen Yuan Star Zone, Emo Qingyun's worry intensified. He asked, "Elder Zhua Qinglong, how many 5-star powers have been conquered by the Dark Demon race? Before we came here, there were a total of 17 5-star regions that were overrun by the Dark Devil race." Hearing Emo Qingyun's question, Zhua Qinglong looked ashamed and reported the current situation to Emo Qingyun. He said, "The star domains of the great emperors and great sages that came with me have all been conquered by the Dark Demon race." Everyone in the hall lowered their heads when they heard Zhua Qinglong's words. Emo Qingyun didn't feel the slightest bit of sympathy for these people who had lowered their heads. Instead, he said with a hint of dissatisfaction in his voice, "Since the Dark Demon race has conquered your star domain, you should be able to understand the feeling of having your sect and home taken away. Let me ask you, how can you inflict this pain on others after coming to the true Primordial Demon Hall?" Faced with Emo Qingyun's questioning, the ashamed expressions on everyone's faces immediately became even more intense. Seeing that no one spoke, Emo Qingyun's expression became gentler and his tone gentler. He said, "Now that the Dark Demon race is a great enemy, I hope that no one will start internal strife and ruin everyone's efforts to resist the dark demon race. If anyone insists on starting internal strife and forcing the anti-demon alliance to become our enemy, I don't mind telling you that the dark demon race and I will not rest until one of us is dead. There is no harm in having an anti-demon alliance. Mo Qingyun's words shocked Zhuo Qinglong and the others. They all stared at him with wide eyes. They could tell that Mo Qingyun wasn't lying. He really did think so in his heart. More importantly, Mo Qingyun's performance just now showed that he had the ability to do so. Little friend Mo, you must be joking. I will be the first to disagree. After calming himself down, Zhuo Qinglong put on a solemn expression and made his stance clear. As soon as Zhuo Qinglong finished his sentence, the others around him nodded in agreement. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun's expression improved a little. He was very satisfied with everyone's reaction. While everyone was talking, Polar Snow entered the hall with a solemn expression. He said, "Qingyun, Hall Master, the Dark Demon race will arrive at the sect in at most an hour. What should we do now?" Hearing Polar Snow's words, Zhuo Qinglong and the others trembled in shock. A trace of panic appeared in their eyes. Although they had a strong lineup now, they did not have much confidence in fighting the Dark Demon race. "Little friend Mo, if you have any good ideas, why don't you share them with us?" In order to express his stance, Zhuo Qinglong humbled himself and asked Mo Qingyun for instructions. Hearing Zhuo Qinglong's question, Mo Qingyun frowned slightly and pretended to be deep in thought. Mo Qingyun pondered for a while and came up with a plan. He said, "When I passed by the Zhen Yuan starfield, I was trapped in the Zhen Yuan domain sealing formation. If I'm not wrong, the Dark Demon race should not know that I've already escaped. Therefore, I think that I should not show myself for the time being. You guys will fight them first, and I'll appear when the time is right. I'll try to make it a one-way trip for them." Hearing Mo Qingyun's idea, everyone was stunned and their eyes widened. They did not know whether they were shocked by Mo Qingyun's idea or by Mo Qingyun's ability. Bookmark for easy reading. Chapter 30:16. Isn't the elemental sealing formation a level 9 formation? Even great emperors can't escape from it. This Mo Qingyun is not simple. He's full of mysteries. I can't believe that the true Demon Palace, an ordinary 5-star sect, has such a genius. Everyone exclaimed in surprise, and the way they looked at Mo Qingyun changed drastically. Zhuo Qinglong marveled at Mo Qingyun's feats for a while before he said solemnly, "In that case, I will lead everyone to confront the Dark Demon race first and provide cover for young Master Mo's secret operation." "Okay." Mo Qingyun nodded and said, "When you fight the Dark Demon tribe, don't fight them to the death to avoid casualties. Just hold them back." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others were stunned and confused. The Black Bear Grand Sage frowned and said with disdain, "How can great emperors die so easily? Even if we fight with our lives on the line, there won't be any casualties." Zhuo Qinglong and the others nodded in agreement with the Black Bear Grand Sage's words. Based on their understanding, they all agreed that the probability of an Emperor Realm expert dying was extremely low. Seeing everyone's reaction, Mo Qingyun only smiled and didn't argue with them. In just a little over a month, the number of great emperors who had died in his hands had exceeded 10. If Zhuo Qinglong and the others knew about this, they would probably be scared out of their wits. This kind of battle record was too terrifying and too brutal. "Let's go." After discussing with Mo Qingyun for a while, Zhuo Qinglong didn't want to waste any more time and left with everyone. Seeing that Zhuo Qinglong and the others had left, Mo Qingyun didn't hesitate and disappeared in a flash. When Mo Qingyun appeared again, he was already outside the true Grand Primordium Devil Hall, hiding at the top of the clouds. Even Saint Emperors would not be able to discover his existence if they did not purposefully use their senses. Not long after Mo Qingyun hid himself, Sui Qinglong and the others came out and looked into the distance with tense expressions. Time slowly passed as everyone waited. After an unknown amount of time, a majestic group of people approached the true absolute beginning Devil Hall. Here it comes. Sui Qinglong and the others trembled at the sight of the mighty army, and their expressions became even more tense. Sui Qinglong glanced at the formation of the dark demons and frowned. He said in surprise, "I didn't expect Zijuedao to lead the dark demons to attack us. This is going to be troublesome." Upon hearing Sui Qinglong's words, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others turned solemn. Obviously, they had all heard of Zijuchu's name, and knew how powerful and terrifying Zijuchu was. Compared to Sui Qinglong and the others, Lei Muwen was much calmer. She was just a little confused. However, she didn't ask any questions and just stood there quietly. At the top of the clouds, observing the situation of the dark demons below, Mo Qingyun's face was filled with shock. "I didn't expect Zi Xiao and Zi Qingrong to be here. This saves me a lot of trouble and saves me the trouble of finding them one by one. If I'm not wrong, the Dark Demon's invasion of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall should be a plan by the two of them." Mo Qingyun felt that, given the hatred that the two of them had for him, their actions were understandable. When Mo Qingyun thought of this, his desire to kill the two of them grew even stronger. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, the Dark Demon's army stopped advancing not far from the true absolute beginning Devil Hall. "So it's Holy Emperor Sui Qinglong. Have you come to the absolute beginning starfield to stop us?" Zijuchu glanced at Sui Qinglong and the others and smiled faintly, as if he was talking to an old friend. Although Zijuchu's tone was calm, it gave Sui Qinglong and the others a lot of pressure. Sui Qinglong suppressed the fear in his heart and took a deep breath. "Holy Emperor Zijuchu, the Dark Demon's ambitions were thwarted last time, and they will be thwarted again this time. I advise you to retreat as soon as possible to avoid unnecessary casualties." Sui Qinglong's words were laced with a hint of uncertainty and fear toward the Dark Demons. Otherwise, given the Dark Demons' atrocities, they would have attacked them directly. Zijuchu remained calm when he heard Sui Qinglong's words. He smiled faintly. "It's easy to make us retreat. You just need to hand over Lei Muwen." Sui Qinglong and the others were shocked. They all looked toward Lei Muwen in confusion. They hadn't expected Zijuchu to bring his troops here just for Lei Muwen. Lei Muwen and Mo Qingyun have more and more secret. After taking a closer look at Lei Muwen, Sui Qinglong couldn't help but sigh. He was deeply moved. However, at that moment there was a firm determination in his heart. He said, "Zijukeo has personally come to capture Lei Muwen. This matter is definitely not simple. I absolutely cannot allow him to capture Lei Muwen." Sui Qinglong thought to himself. He replied firmly to Zijuchu, "Holy Emperor Zijuchu, it's impossible for me to hand over Lei Muwen." Zijuchu wasn't surprised by Sui Qinglong's attitude, but his expression turned cold. If that's the case, there's nothing more to say. After Zijuchu finished speaking, he waved his hand at Zi Xiao and the others, signaling them to attack. After giving the order, Zijuchu charged towards Sui Qinglong. "Holy Emperor Sui Qinglong, it's been a long time since we last met. Now that you've become a holy emperor, let me see how much you've improved." Faced with the onslaught of the purple ultimate centipede, Sui Qinglong's expression tensed up as he anxiously said to the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others, "I will stop the purple ultimate centipede. You guys protect Hallmaster Lei. Do not let her be captured by the Dark Demons." After Sui Qinglong finished speaking, he stood beside Zijuchu and they fought fiercely. "Yes." After hearing Sui Qinglong's orders, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others nodded reluctantly. Then, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others stood together with Zi Xiao and the others. They were locked in a fierce battle. While they were fighting, a great saint from the Dark Demons flew toward Lei Muwen. Emo Qingyun has been causing trouble for me. Let's see if he can continue to be so arrogant after we capture you." This great sage powerhouse sneered as he flew towards Lei Muan. "You're right, Lei Muan," he said proudly. He seemed to have Lei Muan in his grasp. He had already captured Lei Muan. Chapter 30:17. Zisu Grand Sage, she has a magic treasure that can trap people. Don't be careless. Seeing that Zisu had gone to deal with Lei Muan, Zi Zhao's expression tightened and he immediately warned him. He had fought with Lei Muan many times and knew how powerful the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell was. Hence, he did not dare to be careless. Hearing Zi Zhao's warning, Lei Muan laughed softly and said, "It's too late for you to warn him now." Lei Muan raised her hand and summoned the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. It shone with a blinding purple light. Flying out from Lei Muan's hand, the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell emitted a frightening aura and enveloped Zisu. Boom! A loud sound was heard. In his panic, Zisu was trapped by the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. What magic treasure is that? It can trap a great saint. I didn't expect Lei Muan to have such a trump card. We have underestimated her. She and Emo Qingyun are too mysterious. They give off an unfathomable feeling. Seeing that Lei Muan had summoned the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the rest were filled with intense fear. Seeing that Zisu was trapped by the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, Zi Zhao's expression darkened. He flew towards Lei Muan and said, "Now that you have summoned the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell, I want to see what else you have to fight me." Zi Zhao's figure flashed and he appeared in front of Lei Muan. He slammed his palm towards Lei Muan. Facing Zi Zhao's attack, Lei Muan was not afraid at all. With a cold expression, she said, "When I was just a quasi-emperor, you couldn't do anything to me. Can you do anything to me now?" As soon as Lei Muan finished speaking, she lifted her jade-like hand and took the initiative to greet Zi Zhao. "Quickly go and help Hall Master Lei and stop that great saint expert." Seeing Lei Muan's situation, Sui Qinglong panicked and shouted at the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others. Hearing Sui Qinglong's words, the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others did not hesitate and immediately went to help Lei Muan. However, before they could move, their path was blocked by the Dark Devil Race's Emperor Realm expert. Seeing that no one came to help Lei Muan, the complacent expression on Zi Zhao's face became even more intense. He said, "Lei Muan, let's see who can save you. Obediently surrender. After I capture you, I will bring you to meet Emo Qingyun. I almost forgot to tell you that Emo Qingyun is currently trapped within the suppression region lockdown formation, and he's like a coward." Hearing Zi Zhao's words, Lei Muan's expression changed slightly. She was well aware of Emo Qingyun's situation, but he wasn't trapped in the Zhen Yuan sealing formation. "Is that so?" Lei Muan smiled meaningfully and pretended to be deep in thought. She said, "Zi Xiao, don't be too complacent. Qingyun might have come out a long time ago. Maybe she's hiding behind you right now and will kill you instantly when you're not paying attention." After Lei Muan finished speaking, the smile on her face became even wider. Her words made Zi Xiao feel a little guilty. Then, Zi Xiao split a portion of his consciousness and carefully sensed his surroundings. Emo Qingyun is trapped in the Zhen Yuan sealing formation. He can't possibly escape. This girl must be deliberately mystifying things. Zi Xiao released his divine will and sensed his surroundings. He comforted himself in his heart. Zi Xiao carefully sensed the surroundings and confirmed that there was no trace of Emo Qingyun's aura. Only then did Zi Zhao's expression relax a little. He said, "Lei Muan, we've already reached this point, yet you're still using such tricks. Do you think it's meaningful?" Lei Muan did not answer Zi Zhao's question. She only smiled faintly. How could it not be meaningful? Suddenly, a cold voice sounded from behind Zi Xiao. When Zi Xiao heard this voice, His expression trembled and his eyes widened. He said in shock, "Emo Qingyun, it's impossible. He can't possibly appear here." Before Zi Xiao could finish speaking, he saw 10 Emo Qingyun charging towards him with swords. "No, this can't be real. He can't possibly come out." Seeing the 10 Emo Qingyun approaching him, Zi Xiao was so frightened that his face turned pale. A crazed expression appeared on his face. He could not believe that Emo Qingyun could escape so quickly after being trapped in the Zhen Yuan ceiling formation. Chi. Faced with the sword radiance coming from all directions, Zi Xiao could not escape at all. He was hit with an unwilling expression. Then, the sword radiance pierced through Zi Xiao's body and extinguished his life force in an instant. After his life force was extinguished, Zi Xiao's primordial spirit fled from his physical body in a panic. "Chern, stop him." Seeing that Zi Xiao's primordial spirit was about to escape, Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold. He ordered Chern, who was in the Soul Palace. Hearing Emo Qingyun's order, Chern did not hesitate and immediately attacked Zi Xiao's primordial spirit. Soon, a black door of light with a gloomy presence shot out from between Emo Qingyun's eyebrows. With a flash of light, the door of light caught up with Zi Xiao's primordial spirit and swallowed it. "No! Save me, Saint Emperor!" Zi Xiao's primordial spirit was enveloped by the door of light. He used a terrified voice to beg for help from Zi Jueho in the distance. Hearing Zi Xiao's cry for help, Zi Jueho's expression changed, and he immediately looked over. When Zi Jueho looked over, he sensed Chen's presence. His expression became even more shocked. He said, "This is the presence of a Saint Emperor. I never thought that there would be a Saint Emperor hidden among Zhou Qinglong's group." When Zi Jueho had this thought, he wanted to retreat. He did not want to continue fighting. He knew very well how much a Saint Emperor could affect the situation in front of him. "Emo Qingyun, why is he here? How did he escape from the Zhenyuan region ceiling formation?" Seeing Emo Qingyun's appearance, Zi Qingrong, who was fighting not far away, was so frightened that his face trembled. He really did not think that Emo Qingyun would be able to escape from the Zhenyuan region ceiling formation so easily. "He is Emo Qingyun." Hearing Zi Qingrong's words, Zi Jueho discovered Emo Qingyun. His face was filled with shock. He said, "This kid killed a great saint of my clan in one move. He is indeed a little strange." Sensing that Emo Qingyun was not ordinary, Zi Jueho's gaze towards Emo Qingyun became even more sinister. Clearly, his killing intent towards Emo Qingyun had become even stronger at this moment. Although Zi Jueho's killing intent had increased, he did not lose his mind. He immediately said to Zi Qingrong and the others, "There are 2 Saint Emperors. The situation is not good for us. Let's retreat immediately." Hearing Zi Jueho's words, Zi Qingrong and the others were shocked. Their faces immediately became tense. They were extremely clear on just how great of an influence a Saint Emperor could have on the situation. After that, they didn't dare hesitate at all and immediately retreated to the rear. Chapter 30:18. You want to leave? Seeing through Zi Juexiang's thoughts, Emo Qingyun's lips curled into a contemptuous smile. Zi Jueho had led the dark demon race to the Tai Chu starfield to capture Lei Muan and threaten her. This had crossed his bottom line. How could he let them go so easily? Emo Qingyun sneered. His figure flashed as he attacked an ordinary great emperor from the dark demon race. Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and appeared in front of the great emperor, blocking his path. Emo Qingyun did not stop after blocking the great emperor's path. He slashed at the great emperor with his sword. Immediately, 10 identical Emo Qingyun appeared around the great emperor. No, facing Emo Qingyun's tyrannical attack, this person was so frightened that his face trembled, and intense fear emerged in his eyes. Before he could finish his sentence, the sword light pierced through his body and extinguished his life force. After extinguishing the great emperor's life force, Mo Qingyun did not stop attacking and stabbed at the great emperor's primordial spirit. Pucci. With a flash of the sword light, the great emperor from the dark demon race was killed by Mo Qingyun. After killing the great emperor from the dark demon race, Mo Qingyun did not stop and flew towards another great emperor. Kid, you've gone too far. Die. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Zijueho was furious and flew towards Mo Qingyun. A great emperor realm expert was a powerful force to the dark devil race. If Mo Qingyun was allowed to kill them, it would be a great loss to the dark demon race. Anchun, stop him. Seeing Zijueho's attack, Mo Qingyun was not afraid at all. He raised his hand and pointed at his forehead. Then, a black shadow flew out from between his eyebrows. Anchun appeared in front of Mo Qingyun and emitted the aura of a great emperor. Everyone's expression changed. A great emperor? There's actually a saint emperor hidden by Mo Qingyun's side. I didn't expect there to be a great emperor in the true demon hall. No wonder Lei Muan is not afraid of great emperors Hua Qinglong. The true demon hall is so secretive. We've underestimated it. Seeing Anchun appear, Hua Qinglong and the others were shocked. This was especially so for the Black Bear Grand Sage. The shock in his heart was even more intense and his face turned pale. Although he sensed the aura of a great emperor in the true demon hall, he did not see it with his own eyes. He couldn't be sure that there were saint emperors in the true beginning devil hall, but it was completely different now. Anchun's a great emperor? Lei Muan was shocked when she sensed the change in Anchun's aura. She was very surprised by this situation. She did not expect Anchun to break through again in just a short period of time. Of course, while Lei Muan was shocked, she was also pleasantly surprised. Anchun's breakthrough to the level of Saint Emperor was undoubtedly great news for the true Primordium Devil Hall. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Anchun's figure flashed as he charged at Zijuehua. There really is another great emperor, and he's even stronger than Hua Qinglong. Faced with Anchun's powerful attack, Zijuehua was shocked. His face turned green and white. Following that, the fear in his heart immediately intensified. Faced with such a situation, even if he wanted to protect his subordinates, he was powerless. If he did not find a chance to escape, he might die here and be buried with his subordinates. Run! Zijueleo understood this. He stopped fighting with Anchun and quickly ran for his life. Seeing that Zijuehua was completely suppressed, Hua Qinglong and the others were delighted. He said, "Let's not just watch. Help Mr. Mo clean up the dark demons." As soon as Hua Qinglong finished speaking, his figure flashed and attacked a great saint from the dark demon race. As for the Black Bear Grand Sage and the others, they found their opponents and suppressed them in an instant. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, as the two sides fought, the great emperors from the dark demons died one after another under Mo Qingyun's sword. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, Zijuekong was so angry that his face turned green. He roared, "Brat, I'll remember this. Just wait for my revenge." Zijuexiang roared and unleashed a secret technique to increase his speed to the extreme. Zijuehua's figure flashed and he appeared beside Ziqingrong. Zijuehua grabbed with his hand and took Ziqingrong away from the battle. They disappeared from everyone's sight. Seeing that Zijuehua was fleeing, Mo Qingyun did not chase after him. He knew that he could not catch up with Zijuehua's secret technique. "If you want to take revenge on me, let's see if you have the ability." Looking at Zijuehua's back, Mo Qingyun smiled disdainfully. He was not worried at all. After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he attacked the remaining dark demons and massacred them. In just a few moments, other than Zijuehua and Ziqingrong, the rest of the dark demons were killed. Seeing Mo Qingyun's battle record, Hua Qinglong and the others were so shocked that their faces turned pale. This kind of battle situation was too terrifying and shocking for them. In just 2 hours, a few great sages and dozens of great monarchs had fallen. This Emo Chingyun is too scary. He's killing great emperors like crazy. I said that it's not easy for great emperors to fall. What a joke. Although the result was too frightening, the confrontation with the Dark Demon clan this time around was extremely satisfying. It's too satisfying. This is the first time we've defeated the Dark Demons so overwhelmingly. Thinking about the result of this battle, Sui Qinglong and the others were excited. Then, the way they looked at Emo Chingyun changed greatly. They had to admit that Emo Chingyun had shocked them too much in the short time they'd spent with Emo Chingyun. Let's go. After cleaning up the Dark Demons, Emo Chingyun did not want to stay any longer. He turned and flew into the True Demon Palace. Seeing Emo Chingyun's actions, Sui Qinglong and the others quickly followed. When they returned to the True Demon Palace, Missouri Chingyun ordered people to settle Sui Qinglong and the others in and let them rest in the guest rooms. After witnessing Emo Chingyun's strength, Sui Qinglong and the others did not dare to put on airs. They obediently went to rest. Muwen, go gather the great ancestors. I have something to tell them. After settling Sui Qinglong and the others, Emo Chingyun told Lei Muwen to summon Lei Giyi and the others. After hearing Emo Chingyun's instructions, Lei Muwen responded and went to find Lei Giyi and the others. Before long, everyone gathered in the conference hall, waiting for Emo Chingyun's instructions. Chapter 30:19. I've called you all here because I have something important to ask you. Seeing that Lei Giyi and the others had arrived, Emo Chingyun did not waste any time and directly asked them. I went to look for the Emperor Blood Essence Jades and found 5 of them. If nothing goes wrong, 5 of you will be able to break through to the Great Emperor realm. You can discuss who will refine the Emperor Blood Essence Jades and break through to the Great Emperor realm. Hearing Emo Chingyun's words, Lei Muwen and the others in the hall were all shocked. He hadn't expected that Emo Chingyun would not only successfully find Sovereign Blood Essence Jades, but also find as many as 5 of them. Everyone was shocked and began to discuss who would refine the Emperor Blood Essence Jades to break through. Palace Master Ice Pole has the best talent. He should refine the Emperor Blood Essence Jades to break through. Elder Murong has the smallest bone phosphorus and the greatest potential. He should be counted as one. Old Ancestor Lei Giyi is the strongest. His strength will definitely skyrocket after breaking through to the Great Emperor realm. He will be the most helpful to the sect. The few of them whispered to each other. After some discussion, Ice Pole and the others came to a conclusion and chose the 5 people who would break through. The 5 people were the same as Emo Chingyun had thought. They were Lei Giyi, Ice Pole, Murong Nana, Lei Chongfeng and Shui Chuning. Lei Chongfeng was the Thunder Hall's great elder and Shui Chuning was the Water Hall's hall master. Seeing that the 5 people had been chosen, Emo Chingyun took out the Emperor Blood Essence Jades and handed them to Enchun. He said, Enchun, I'll leave the 5 of them to you. You'll arrange everything. Yes. Hearing Emo Chingyun's words, Enchun nodded and waved at the 5 people. He said, the 5 of you follow me. I'll help you break through now. As soon as Enchun finished speaking, he walked out of the hall and led the 5 people to break through. After Enchun and the others left, Lei Muwen stood up and said, Chingyun, I've had some enlightenment recently and need to cultivate in seclusion. During this time, help me take care of the sect. All right. Emo Chingyun agreed to Lei Muwen's request without hesitation. After instructing Emo Chingyun, Lei Muwen turned around and left the hall. She went to the Blue Sky Cold Spring to cultivate in seclusion. Everyone left. Emo Chingyun didn't stay any longer. He got up and returned to his residence. On Emo Chingyun's way back, a very strange phenomenon appeared before his eyes. Many of the members of the Heaven-forsaken race, who had been taken in before, had become Tao companions with the disciples of the True Demon Hall of Absolute Beginning. Strange, why are all the disciples of the True Beginning Demon Hall looking for companions all of a sudden? A strong sense of confusion arose in Emo Qingyun's heart. He could not understand why. After pondering for a while, Emo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat and he immediately came up with a guess. The members of the heaven-forsaken race are probably worried that we will drive them away one day and want to use this method to bind them to the true beginning demon hall. If this goes on, they will infiltrate the true beginning demon hall. This is not a good thing. As Emo Qingyun thought of this, his impression of the heaven-forsaken race became a little worse. In Emo Qingyun's opinion, the heaven-forsaken race's actions were secretly plotting against the true beginning demon hall. He wouldn't allow such a thing to happen. It seems like they had the same idea when they bewitched Hada previously. Once one problem was solved, all the mysteries would be solved. Once one problem was solved, all the mysteries would be solved. After guessing the intentions of the heaven-forsaken race, Emo Qingyun frowned and quickly made a decision. It seems like I have to make some decisions to change the situation before me. As Emo Qingyun pondered this, he returned to the ice palace. What surprised Emo Qingyun was that a lady from the heaven-forsaken race had actually appeared there. Bing Pingyu and her were glued to each other like glue. Emo Qingyun's expression turned even colder when he saw this. His dissatisfaction with the heaven-forsaken race intensified. "Senior brother Emo, you have returned." Bing Pingyu had a look of reverence on his face when he saw Emo Qingyun return. He got up and bowed to Emo Qingyun. As Bing Pingyu bowed, the lady from the heaven-forsaken race beside him smiled charmingly at Emo Qingyun. Based on her behavior, it seemed like she still wanted to bewitch Emo Qingyun. Unfortunately, her actions did not bewitch Emo Qingyun. Instead, Emo Qingyun loathed them even more. Who would have thought that even Pingyu would fall for them? I really underestimated the heaven-forsaken race. Emo Qingyun was extremely wary of the potential threat of the heaven-forsaken race. He thought to himself, in just a few months, so many ladies from the heaven-forsaken race have already infiltrated the true demon hall. If I don't stop them, the consequences will be unimaginable. Emo Qingyun understood this point. He did not want to waste any time and immediately went to find Mu Xia He and the others. Confusion flashed across Bing Pingyu's eyes when he saw Emo Qingyun leave in a hurry. However, he did not ask any questions. Before long, Emo Qingyun returned to the conference hall and gathered Mu Xia He and the others. "Qingyun, why did you gather us in such a hurry?" Mu Xia He's old face was filled with confusion when he saw Emo Qingyun return and gather everyone in a hurry. The others beside him were the same. Emo Qingyun did not beat around the bush when he heard Mu Xia He's question. He asked directly, "Old ancestor Mu Xia He, when I was walking in the sect just now, I saw many inner sect disciples becoming Tao companions with ladies from the heaven-forsaken race. What is going on?" Mu Xia He frowned when he heard Emo Qingyun's question. He was also puzzled. "I don't really understand this matter either. It seems to be Senior Hada's intention. He wants me to become Tao companions with ladies from the heaven-forsaken race in order to improve the relationship between the heaven-forsaken race and the sect." Emo Qingyun was shocked when he heard Mu Xia He's answer. This is Hada's intention? It had to be said that Mu Xia He's answer was very surprising. Emo Qingyun realized this. He looked at the next elder and said, "Elder Shueishi, go find Hada. I have something to ask him." "Yes." Shueishi nodded and immediately left the hall. Seeing Emo Qingyun's action, Mu Xia He realized something was wrong. He became nervous and asked, "Qingyun, is there something wrong with a lady from the heaven-forsaken race marrying a disciple?" Mu Xia He could feel that Emo Qingyun was not in a good mood. He seemed to be dissatisfied with the situation. Emo Qingyun didn't evade Mu Xia He's question. He nodded at him and said, "I hope the sect's situation is better than I expected." Mu Xia He and the others were shocked by Emo Qingyun's reaction. They immediately felt uneasy. Chapter 30-20. Not long after, under the lead of Elder Shui Shi, Hauda arrived at the conference hall. Seeing Emo Qingyun at the top of the hall, Hauda put on a respectful expression and clasped his hands at Emo Qingyun. "May I ask why Mr. Emo has summoned me?" "It's nothing much. I just want to ask how you've been recently." Emo Qingyun did not reply to Hauda's question. With an interested expression, he said, "I recently heard that you've been matchmaking your disciples with members of the Heavenly Forsaken clan. May I know if this is true?" "It is true." Hauda did not deny it and nodded without hesitation. "I'm matchmaking my disciples with members of the Heavenly Forsaken clan, mainly because I want the Heavenly Wings clan to better integrate into the true Primordial Demon Hall. The Heavenly Forsaken clan's cultivation talent is very strong. They are a clan that is blessed by the heavens. If they mate with a disciple of the true Primordial Demon Hall, the next generation of disciples will possess astonishing cultivation talent. This is a great opportunity for the true Primordial Demon Hall, an opportunity to change the fate of the true Primordial Demon Hall." After hearing Hauda's words, the expressions of Emo Qingyun and the others immediately turned even uglier. He had never imagined that Hauda would say something like that. "It seems that you're really thinking for the true Primordial Demon Hall. This is really hard on you." Emo Qingyun's gaze was slightly displeased as he looked at Hauda in the center of the hall. He said in a cold and mocking tone, "Do you know that the heaven-forsaken race's casual union with disciples will disrupt the order of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall and cause chaos in the various branch halls? If the disciples of every hall mate with members of the Heavenly Wings clan, how will they be divided into the metal, wood, water, 9 halls in the future?" After Emo Qingyun said that, Mu Xiahe and the others nodded in agreement. If Hauda was allowed to continue, the true Primordial Demon Hall would cease to exist and only the Heavenly Forsaken Clan Hall would remain. When everyone thought of this, his expression trembled, and intense shock appeared in his eyes. At this moment, they finally understood what Emo Qingyun was worried about. While everyone was shocked and worried, Hauda bowed slightly and cupped his hands to Emo Qingyun. "Mr. Emo, this old man has come to find you because I have a request. I hope you will agree to it." Emo Qingyun narrowed his eyes when he saw Harhad's actions. There was a hint of displeasure on his face as he said, "If you have anything to say, just say it." "All right." Hauda nodded and said, "In my recent interactions with the Heaven-Forsaken race, I discovered that their race has their own belief. They have some minor conflicts with the sect rules of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall. Thus, I wish to request you to carve out a region in the true absolute beginning Devil Hall for the Tian-E race to manage their own people." Hearing Harhad's request, the faces of the people in the hall immediately became gloomy. Hauda's request could be said to be very rude. "What if I disagree?" Emo Qingyun's expression was cold as he looked at Hauda below, and he asked in a cold tone. Faced with Emo Qingyun's question, Hauda frowned and a sliver of displeasure appeared on his face. "Mr. Emo, this old man knows that this request may be a little excessive, but the Tian-E race has just been severely injured and needs a place to rest and recuperate. Please agree to this request. You also know that your request is excessive." Emo Qingyun was completely displeased when he saw that Hauda kept talking about seeking benefits for the Tian-E race. He said, "Hauda, don't forget that you are the great elder of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall, not the great elder of the Tian-E race. You should be thinking of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall, not the Tian-E race. You can't damage the benefits of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall because of the Tian-E race. Also, the Tian-E race needs a peaceful environment to rest and recuperate. Why did you bring the Skywings race and the disciples together? Won't this disturb their peace? Lastly, I let them stay in the shadowless Valley of Wind Snails and make them part of the Wind Hall. They have to obey the true absolute beginning Devil Hall's control." Seeing Emo Qingyun's domineering attitude, Haoda's face darkened and showed a strong anger. Emo Qingyun didn't care about Haoda's anger at all. He looked at Mu Xiaohe and said, Ancestor Mu Xiaohe, immediately go and give the order to expel the Tian-Yi race from the true absolute beginning Devil Hall. If the disciples of the sects who have joined with the Tian-Yi race are unwilling to be separated from the Skywings race, expel them from the true absolute beginning Devil Hall as well. Yes. Hearing Emo Qingyun's order, Mu Xiaohe responded and left the hall. Shui Shi and the others were shocked when they saw Emo Qingyun's attitude. They didn't expect Emo Qingyun to be so resolute. Even if his good friend Haoda appeared and made a request to him, there was no room for negotiation. Mr. Emo, aren't your actions a little too cold? Seeing Emo Qingyun's attitude, Haoda was so angry that his face turned green, and he questioned him with an unhappy tone. Emo Qingyun's expression didn't change at all when he heard Haoda's questioning words. He looked coldly at Haoda and said, This is Mu Wan's true absolute beginning Devil Hall. I won't allow anyone to harm its interests, not even you, Haoda. You and I can be considered acquaintances. Leave with the Tian-Yi race. From today onwards, you have nothing to do with the true absolute beginning Devil Hall. Seeing Emo Qingyun's actions, Shui Shi and the others who were seated at the side revealed shocked expressions once again. They didn't expect that Emo Qingyun would expel Haoda as well. Emo Qingyun's heartlessness and coldness made Haoda tremble, and he was stunned on the spot. Haoda was silent for a moment. He clenched his fists, turned around and walked out of the hall. He said, Emo Qingyun, you will regret your decision today very soon. After a while, when Haoda left the hall, Shui Shi frowned and said, Mr. Emo, weren't your words a little too harsh? No matter what, Haoda is your good friend. You should at least give him some face. Shui Shi's words made the few people beside her show expressions of agreement. My words weren't harsh at all. Emo Qingyun shook his head and rejected Shui Shi's words. He said, After he violated my bottom line time and time again, he no longer treats me as a good friend. If that's the case, why should I suffer and cater to him? I don't owe him anything. On the contrary, Haoda was able to break through to the Emperor realm because of my help. Now that he treats me like this, I am very disappointed in him. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Shui Shi and the others didn't say anything else. They were all feeling complicated. Chapter 30-21. Boom boom boom. While Emo Qingyun and the others were talking, a series of deafening noises came from outside the conference hall. Emo Qingyun and the others became serious when they heard the noises coming from outside the conference hall. Their expressions immediately turned cold. Emo Qingyun's figure flashed and he left the conference hall. When Emo Qingyun left the conference hall, he saw many disciples fighting each other crazily. Emo Qingyun's expression turned cold when he saw this scene. He came to Mu Xiaohe's side and said, Ancestor Mu Xiaohe, what's going on? Mu Xiaohe's old face tightened when he heard Emo Qingyun's question. He said helplessly, When these disciples learned that we were going to expel the Tian-Yi tribe, they expressed great dissatisfaction and stopped us from taking out the Tian-Yi tribe. Shui Shi and the others' expressions immediately turned grave when they heard Mu Xiaohe's explanation. No wonder Emo Qingyun wants to expel the Tian-Yi tribe. These people are indeed a disaster if they stay. They've only been in the true Primordial Demon Hall for a few months, and they've already bewitched so many disciples. Even Grand Elder Haha has been bewitched, let alone these ordinary disciples. Shui Shi and the others sighed. Emo Qingyun looked around and released an aura that enveloped the disciples. Since you were once disciples of the true Primordial Demon Hall, I'll give you 10 breaths of time to leave. If you don't want to leave, then don't ever leave. Mu Xiaohe and the others immediately shuddered when they heard Emo Qingyun's words. They could vaguely guess what Emo Qingyun was going to do next. Mr. Emo, they're all disciples of the true Primordial Demon Hall. If you, after guessing Mo Qingyun's thoughts, Mu Xiahe showed a sympathetic expression and wanted to persuade Mo Qingyun. However, before Mu Xiahe could finish speaking, Mo Qingyun said coldly, Ancestor Mu Xiahe, they were no longer disciples of the true Taichu Demon Hall from the moment they chose to stand on the side of the Sky-Forsaken tribe and resist the true Taichu Demon Hall. I've given these people who have betrayed the sect a chance to choose, and I've done my best. Xiahe and the others sighed, unable to refute Mo Qingyun's words. Under the pressure of Mo Qingyun's aura, some disciples who were familiar with Mo Qingyun chose to leave. However, there were still some disciples who chose to fight against the true Primordial Demon Hall. Kill. Seeing the actions of the disciples, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time and directly gave the order to Mu Xiahe and the others. When they heard Mo Qingyun's order, Mu Xiahe and the others didn't hesitate and immediately dealt with the disciples who had betrayed the sect. When Mu Xiahe and the others made their move, Hahada came over angrily and said, Mo Qingyun, they are all disciples of the true Primordial Demon Hall. How could you order them to be slaughtered? Aren't you a little too inhumane? After berating Mo Qingyun, Hahada looked at the other disciples and said, Did you see that clearly? Is it worth it for you to submit to such an indifferent sect? Some disciples who didn't have their own opinions immediately expressed their displeasure when they heard Hahada's words. Mo Qingyun didn't show any emotion when he saw the situation before him. Instead, a cold smile appeared at the corners of his mouth. Hahada, don't blame me if you insist on being obstinate. As soon as Mo Qingyun said that, his figure flashed and flew towards Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he arrived beside Hahada, thrusting his sword at him. When he saw Mo Qingyun attack, Hahada was so frightened that his eyes widened. He didn't think that Mo Qingyun would really make a move against him and really want to kill him. The sword light flashed and pierced through Hahada's body, extinguishing his life force. Then, Hahada's primordial spirit escaped from his body with a terrified expression. Mo Qingyun didn't chase after Hahada's primordial spirit escaped. He looked at him coldly and said, Get out of the true Primordial Demon Hall in 10 breaths. Don't let me see you again in the future. Otherwise, I won't show you any mercy. Hahada's figure flashed and he flew towards the Sky-Forsaken clan. As Hahada was chased away, the disciples who resisted were all dealt with by Mu Xiahe and the others. The remaining disciples of the true Primordial Demon Hall all had solemn expressions as they watched this great purge. Obviously, the impact of this matter on them was a little too great. Qingyun, this matter seems to have a great impact on the disciples. What should we do next? Coming to Mo Qingyun's side, Mu Xiahe had an inquiring expression as he asked for Mo Qingyun's opinion. When he heard Mu Xiahe's worries, Mo Qingyun said calmly, Old ancestor Mu Xiahe, you don't have to worry about this. The disciples' emotions will naturally calm down before long. Not only that, but they will also discover how glorious it is to become a disciple of the true Primordial Demon Hall in the future. I observed earlier and discovered that the disciples who resisted the sect were all from the fire, wind, torture, earth, and metal halls. It seems that although the hall masters of the halls rebelled and were destroyed, some disciples in the halls were still dissatisfied with the sect. That's why they were bewitched by the Sky-Forsaken clan. After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Mu Xiahe and the others looked as though they had understood something. Soon after, the worries in their hearts completely disappeared. They didn't have any sense of belonging to the true Primordial Demon Hall and would betray the sect sooner or later. Now that they had been cleaned up, it was actually a pretty good thing. Old ancestor Mu Xiahe, be careful of the Sky-Forsaken clan. I have a feeling that they aren't simple. When he recalled the commotion caused by the Sky-Forsaken clan, Mo Qingyun felt a wave of lingering fear. Instinctively, he said, It seems that the Sky-Forsaken clan's sudden request for help might not be a coincidence. It might be a huge conspiracy. It seems like I was too careless this time and brought them back to the true Primordium Demon Hall. Emo Chingyun thought to himself. He increasingly felt that the Sky-Forsaken clan was more mysterious than he had imagined. He couldn't pinpoint exactly how mysterious the Sky-Forsaken clan was. Old Ancestor Mu Xiaohe, I'll leave the matter of reorganizing the disciples to the few of you. Now that the matter of the Sky-Forsaken clan had been resolved, Emo Chingyun didn't want to stay any longer and returned to his courtyard. When Emo Chingyun returned to the ice hall, he saw Bing Pingyu listlessly sitting in the courtyard in a daze. Senior brother Emo, you're back, Bing Pingyu said listlessly when he saw Emo Chingyun return. Emo Chingyun didn't say much about Bing Pingyu's behavior. He only nodded indifferently. In his opinion, the ice-flat sedan would be fine after a period of time. Chapter 30-22. In the endless starry sky, on an inconspicuous continent, two light spots descended rapidly. The light spots landed on a mountain peak, revealing two battered figures. Their faces were extremely pale. Looking at the two of them, it seemed that they had luckily escaped from a fierce battle. I didn't expect that even the Zhen Yuan lock formation couldn't trap Emo Chingyun. Emo Chingyun is too strange. If we can't get rid of him, he will be a great disaster. We must report this to the Blood Kaiser. We can't let him continue to grow. While the two figures were discussing, one of them took out a token and shone it at the void in front of them. A dazzling blood-red light shot out from the token and blasted into the void in front of them. Buzz! Suddenly, a transparent light screen appeared in the void in front of them. Under the blood-red light of the token, the transparent light screen shook a few times and a light door appeared in the middle of it. When the two saw the light door formed, they walked into it and disappeared from the mountain peak. As the two figures disappeared, the light screen slowly dissipated and the mountain peak became calm again. If they had not seen it with their own eyes, no one would have thought that there was an entrance to a small world hidden in this ordinary mountain peak. When the two entered the small world, the people inside bowed respectfully to them. Greetings, Demon Sun Qing Long and Holy Emperor Juekong. Holy Emperor Zi Juekong, didn't you go to the Zhen Yuan starfield? Why did you suddenly return? Look at you, you seem to have suffered heavy injuries. Did you fall into the Anti-Demon Alliance's ambush? While everyone was bowing, some of the people who were familiar with them also asked them about their situation. Hearing the people's questions, Zi Qingrong and Zi Juekong's faces turned pale. They did not answer the people's questions. Seeing that the two of them were unwilling to talk, the people tactfully left. After a while, the two of them came to a huge palace. They said to the guards at the entrance of the main hall, "We are going to see the Blood Kaiser. Please inform him." Hearing Zi Qingrong and Zi Juekong's request, a guard at the entrance of the main hall immediately went into the main hall to report. Soon, Zi Qing and Rong were summoned. They entered the main hall respectfully. The hall was very spacious. It was dozens of meters high and had an area of nearly 10,000 square meters. Many chairs were placed in the hall. At this moment, there were many people sitting in the main hall. They were discussing something. Everyone stopped talking when they saw Zi Qingrong and Zi Qingrong come in. They all looked at them. Some of the people who were familiar with the two nodded with a smile and greeted the two. The two of them replied politely to the people around them. Then they bowed to the middle-aged man and said, "Greetings, Blood Kaiser." Demon Sun Qinglong, Juekong Holy Emperor, why are you looking for me so urgently? Could it be that something has happened in Zhen Yuan Starfield? Kaiser Blood frowned when he saw Zi Qingrong and Zi Qingrong in a sorry state. He could vaguely guess that something was wrong. Seeing that Kaiser Blood had already guessed it, Zi Qing and Rong didn't try to hide it and nodded to him. Zi Qing said, "Kaiser Blood, the reason we lost this time is because of that kid Emo Chingyun." Emo Chingyun? Kaiser Blood squinted his eyes and pondered. After thinking for a while, Kaiser Blood recalled Emo Qingyun and said, "Is this Emo Qingyun the person who has been fighting with you on the low-level continent?" It seemed like Zi Qingrong had told Kaiser Blood about what had happened on the wild continent. "That's right." Zi Qingrong didn't deny it and said solemnly, "I thought that I could easily crush Emo Qingyun after I recovered my cultivation. Who would have thought that his cultivation would improve so quickly? He has already reached the intermediate sector Lord Realm. More importantly, he is very strange and has all sorts of strange and powerful technique. Not only that, he has also taken the blood-refining spiritual pivot from Tai Shi Blood Soul Palace." Zi Qingrong's words caused everyone in the hall to become silent with a tense expression. Immediately, these people started to look at Zi Qingrong with mixed feelings. Demon Son Zi Qingrong, how can a kid at the intermediate sector Lord Realm make you so wary? Demon Son Zi Qingrong, even if you want to shirk your responsibility, you can't find such an excuse. I think we should believe him. Even if he wants to find an excuse, he wouldn't find such an excuse. That's right. Emo Qingyun was born on a low-level continent, but he has cultivated so quickly. He must have a huge secret. Everyone had different attitudes. Slowly, the people in the main hall were divided into two camps. But there was one thing that they all had the same thought. They all thought that Emo Qingyun couldn't be left alive and had to be eliminated immediately. Emo Qingyun is indeed strange. He has to be eliminated. Seeing everyone's attitude, Kaiser Blood was also interested in Emo Qingyun. He looked around and said, "According to Saint Emperor Jukong, there are 2 Saint Emperors in true absolute beginning Devil Palace. We need at least 3 Saint Emperors to suppress them. Who is willing to make a trip to true absolute beginning Devil Palace?" Hearing Kaiser Blood's question, everyone in the hall started whispering to each other, discussing who would be the most suitable candidate to go. While they were discussing, a figure in black walked to the center of the main hall and said, "Kaiser Blood, I'm very interested in Emo Qingyun. I've decided to make a trip to true absolute beginning Devil Palace." Everyone was shocked when they saw the figure in black. A smear of fear appeared in their eyes. Compared to the shock and respect of others, Kaiser Blood smiled faintly and said, "Saint Emperor Yingling, I didn't expect you to be interested in Emo Qingyun. But if you go, nothing will go wrong." Seeing Saint Emperor Yingling make a move, another Saint Emperor quickly stood out and bowed to Kaiser Blood. "Kaiser Blood, I'm willing to accompany Saint Emperor Yingling and assist him in capturing Emo Qingyun." Kaiser Blood thought for a moment and said, "Since Saint Emperor Xuanyu is also willing to go, Saint Emperor Yingling, Saint Emperor Xuanyu, and Saint Emperor Zijuegu will go together. The 3 of you rest up and set off for true absolute beginning Devil Palace." "Yes." The 3 of them answered and left the main hall. A few days later, true absolute beginning Devil Palace. Under Enchen's full power, Polar Snow and the others all broke through to the Great Emperor realm. What shocked everyone was that Lei Muan's cultivation also broke through to the Great Saint realm. The discovery gave Sacred Emperors Wa Qinglong and the others a great fright. There were 5 Great Emperors and 1 Great Saint realm expert all of a sudden. This kind of increase in power was too terrifying. In this way, in the true absolute beginning Devil Hall, the number of experts with the battle strength of a Great Emperor reached 8. This kind of terrifying fighting power was comparable to a 5-star top force. Chapter 30-23. Congratulations, Hall Lord Lei, for making a breakthrough. Congratulations, Hall Lord Lei. The true Primordium Demon Hall's strength has increased greatly. Congratulations, Hall Lord Lei, for leading the true Primordium Demon Hall into a peak 5-star force. Seeing Lei Muan and the others coming out of seclusion, Swa Qinglong and the others all congratulated them with envy. In their memories, there had never been a sect where the upper echelons of the true Primordium Demon Hall had made a collective breakthrough. Thank you. Lei Muan smiled in response to Zhuo Qinglong and the others' congratulations. After congratulating Lei Muan, Zhuo Qinglong's expression became serious as he made a decision. Now that the dark demon race has been repelled, and they've lost more than a dozen emperors and great saints, they probably won't attack again in a short period of time. There's no point for us to stay, so we're going to bid farewell to Hall Lord Lei. In my opinion, with the true Primordial Demon Hall's current strength, even if we're here, the dark demon race won't dare to make trouble again. As soon as Zhuo Qinglong finished speaking, a great emperor immediately flattered him. Hearing the great emperor's words, everyone laughed heartily, revealing carefree smiles on their faces. It was obvious that they were in a good mood after achieving a complete victory against the dark demon race. Muan will remember everyone's help this time. Lei Muan didn't ask Zhuo Qinglong and the others to stay. She solemnly promised, if the Alliance needs us in the future, feel free to send us a message. We'll do our best to help. Palace Master Lei, this old man will remember what you just said. Hearing Lei Muan's promise, Zhuo Qinglong was overjoyed and smiled happily. In his opinion, with the true Primordial Demon Hall's current strength, if they were willing to help, they would definitely be a powerful force. Helping the true Primordial Demon Hall this time and receiving Lei Muan's promise was a very worthwhile decision. Mr. Mo seems to still be in seclusion. We won't disturb him any longer. Hall Lord Lei, please pass on our words. Looking at Mo Qingyun's residence, Zhuo Qinglong had a complicated expression and made an inviting gesture to Lei Muan. Lei Muan nodded and said, when Qingyun comes out of seclusion, I'll definitely pass on your words. After exchanging a few more pleasantries with Lei Muan, Zhuo Qinglong led his men and left the true Alpha Demon Palace. After sending Zhuo Qinglong and the others off, Lei Muan returned to the Great Meeting Hall to make arrangements for the internal affairs of the sect. What? Haid actually helped the Heavens Forsaken Yu Hall's disciples to rebel? Young Master Mo treated him so well, yet he did such a thing. What an ungrateful fellow. The Heavenly Forsaken clan has wild ambitions. They are being hunted down by the dark demon race. Although it's a pity to lose a great emperor like Haid, now that the 5 of you have broken through, he won't make a difference. He definitely won't have a good ending by mingling with the Heavens Forsaken Yu Hall. Lei Muan had just walked to the side of the hall when she heard the conversation between Polar Ice and the others. When they saw Lei Muan walking into the hall, Polar Snow and the others had respectful expressions on their faces as they bowed to Lei Muan. Lei Muan waved her hand indifferently at their actions, indicating for them to sit down. After everyone had sat down, Lei Muan's pretty face tensed up and she said, everyone, the people of the Anti-Demon Alliance have left. If the dark demons attack again, we can only rely on ourselves. Hall Lord, the dark demon race, suffered such a great loss this time. They probably won't dare to attack again, right? An elder said with a faint smile. Hearing this elder's words, a few other elders nodded in agreement. They also thought the same in their hearts. Seeing their reactions, Lei Muan's pretty face tensed up even more. She said, the dark devil race won't give up so easily. This time they suffered a great loss. The main reason is that they didn't expect Qingyun to return, so they suffered in silence. If they come again, they will be fully prepared. I can't be careless and relax just because of this victory. Lei Muan's warning made some of the elders who were still thinking about getting lucky immediately dispel this thought. Mo Qingyun's residence. While everyone was talking, An Chun came to Mo Qingyun's residence and transmitted his voice to Mo Qingyun. Master, the 5 of them have successfully broken through to the Emperor realm. Hearing An Chen's voice, Mo Qingyun, who was cultivating on the Fortune mainland, came out in a flicker. The moment Mo Qingyun appeared beside An Chun felt something was wrong. He exclaimed, Master, your cultivation has broken through to the late-stage World Lord realm? That's right, I just broke through yesterday. Seeing that An Chun had sensed his breakthrough, Huang Xiaolong nodded and said, "Let's go find Muwen together. I have something to tell everyone." As Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he walked out of the room, preparing to make a trip to the Thunder Hall. On the way to the Thunder Hall, Mo Qingyun saw the ice palanquin. After several days of calming down, his mood had improved a lot. He was no longer as depressed as before. Seeing that the ice palanquin had recovered, Mo Qingyun nodded with satisfaction. It seemed like the heavenly forsaken race's influence on the disciples was no longer a problem. Soon, Mo Qingyun arrived at the Thunder Hall and found Lei Muwen in the main hall. "Qingyun, you've come out of seclusion." Seeing Mo Qingyun enter the main hall, Lei Muwen's face lit up with joy. She greeted Mo Qingyun. Hearing Lei Muwen's voice, Mo Qingyun smiled warmly at her and quickly walked towards her. "Muwen, you've broken through to the Great Saint Realm. Qingyun, you've also broken through to the late-stage World Lord Realm." Sensing each other's breakthrough, the two of them revealed a smile of pleasant surprise. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's cultivation had also broken through, Lei Yi chuckled and said, "It seems like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. The Dark Devil race's crisis has been resolved, and the Heavenly Forsaken race's hidden danger has been eliminated. The sect is finally going to welcome peace and prosperity." As soon as Lei Yi's words left his mouth, he received everyone's approval. Mo Qingyun also had a faint smile on his face when he saw everyone's reaction. He teased them a little. After teasing them for a while, Mo Qingyun's expression gradually turned serious and he said, "I've snatched the blood-refining spiritual pivot from the Dark Devil race during this trip to the Tai-beginning Blood Soul Palace. I believe the Dark Devil race won't let this go so easily. We have to be careful." After hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone in the main hall looked at each other. Mo Qingyun's words were shockingly similar to Lei Muwen's. Ignoring everyone's surprise, Mo Qingyun didn't stop talking and said, "Forefather Lei Yi, prepare the materials immediately. I want to strengthen the sect-protecting formation." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he summoned 3 Saint Array Masters and asked them to strengthen the sect-protecting formation of the true Absolute Beginning Demon Palace. Chapter 30-24. Qingyun, who are these 3? Lei Muwen and the others were curious when they saw the 3 Saint Array Masters appear. They all looked at them. Seeing that everyone was looking at them, the 3 Saint Array Masters smiled faintly and nodded in response. "Greetings, everyone. I am Jiang Feng. They are Jiang Yu and Jiang Hui." "Nice to meet you, nice to meet you." Mu Xiahe and the others cupped their hands in greeting after hearing the 3's self-introduction. No matter what, the 3 were brought back by Mo Qingyun. They should be treated warmly. The 3 of them are all quasi-8th level Saint Array Masters. I've already invited them to join the sect. While everyone was exchanging pleasantries, Mo Qingyun told Lei Muwen and the others about his idea of bringing the 3 back. After learning the 3's identities, Lei Muwen and the others' eyes lit up. They looked at the 3 in a different light. 3 quasi-8th level Saint Array Masters were very rare talent. With the 3 of them working, the sect-protecting formation of the true Primordial Demon Palace would definitely be strengthened. "Young Master Mo, I've brought all of the materials you requested for the formation." While everyone was talking, Lei Yi returned to the main hall and handed Mo Qingyun a storage bracelet. Mo Qingyun took the storage bracelet from Lei Yi's hand. Without even looking at it, he tossed it to Jiang Feng and the other 2 and said, "These are the materials for setting up the formation. You 3 take a look and discuss how to use them." "Yes." The 3 of them nodded and opened their storage bracelets to check the materials inside. Not long after, the 3 of them finished their discussion and left the conference hall. Seeing that the 3 had gone to strengthen the formation, Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and said to Lei Yi, "Forefather Lei Yi, the 3 of them should have some needs while repairing the formation. Go help them." "All right." Lei Gi nodded and went out to help Jiang Feng and the other two. After dealing with the matter of strengthening the formation, Mo Qingyun looked at Lei Muan and said, "After the sect-protecting formation is repaired, we will go to the Anti-Demon Alliance and see if there is anything we can help with. After all, we owe them a favor." "Alright." Hearing Mo Qingyun's idea, Lei Muan nodded in agreement. After that, Mo Qingyun gave a few more instructions to everyone before leaving the Great Council Hall. After leaving the main hall, Mo Qingyun returned to his residence and entered the Fortune mainland. His cultivation had just broken through and he hadn't had time to stabilize it yet. Since the matter was settled, it was time for him to continue cultivating and stabilize the realm he had just broken through. Mo Qingyun's hands moved quickly, forming a strange hand seal that turned into a huge black door of light. As soon as the black light gate was formed, it emitted a terrifying devouring power, absorbing the power of the Grand Mist spirits in the surroundings. Soon, the Grand Mist spirits entered Mo Qingyun's body and were refined and absorbed bit by bit. Time passed very quickly during cultivation. After a day of cultivation, Mo Qingyun had completely stabilized the realm he had just broken through. "Now that my cultivation has broken through, it's time to practice a few cultivation arts." After successfully stabilizing his realm, Mo Qingyun didn't stop cultivating. He recalled the cultivation arts Chun had taught him. Thinking of the cultivation arts Chun had taught him, Mo Qingyun's heart moved and he immediately asked Chun, "Chun, do you have any cultivation arts suitable for Mu Wan and the others?" "I have some." Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, Chun didn't hide anything and answered truthfully to Mo Qingyun. After getting such an answer from Chun, Mo Qingyun didn't hold back and said, "Go and find Mu Wan and the others now. Teach them the striking technique and let them cultivate and improve their combat strength." "Yes." Chun responded and left immediately. After instructing Chun, Mo Qingyun focused his mind and thought about what cultivation art to cultivate. He said, "Last time in the secret passage of the Taisher Blood Soul Palace, I've already cultivated the 9 absolute shadow swords to minor success. If I cultivate it again in a short period of time, there won't be much progress. If that's the case, I can cultivate and study the sky-shattering Tyrannosaurus fist." With that thought in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately began to practice the sky-shattering Tyrannosaurus fist. A terrifying wave of saint energy erupted from Mo Qingyun's body and turned into a huge dragon shadow. The dragon shadow circled around Mo Qingyun's body and immediately emitted a terrifying dragon's aura. It was breathtaking and made people unable to have the will to fight back. In addition, Mo Qingyun's physique was also strengthened under the sky-shattering Tyrannosaurus fist. Most importantly, each of Mo Qingyun's punches seemed very ordinary, but they actually contained terrifying power. The sky-shattering Tyrannosaurus fist is so powerful. A casual punch is equivalent to the full-powered attack of an ordinary great emperor. After cultivating the sky-shattering Tyrannosaurus fist for a while, Mo Qingyun sensed its power and was pleasantly surprised when he recognized it. Mo Qingyun was pleasantly surprised when he discovered such a situation. The anticipation on his face became even stronger. Immediately after, Mo Qingyun worked even harder to cultivate, striving to increase his battle prowess as quickly as possible. Time passed quickly. In the blink of an eye, 5 days had passed. After 5 days of hard cultivation, Mo Qingyun finally cultivated the sky-shattering Tyrannosaurus fist to the beginner level. "Now that I've activated the sky-shattering Tyrannosaurus fist, the power of a casual punch is comparable to the full-powered attack of a great saint expert." Mo Qingyun sighed with emotion when he saw his harvest in the past 5 days. Excitement appeared on his face. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun was overjoyed, Chen's voice entered his mind. "Master, the situation is not good. The Dark Devil race is attacking again." Hearing In Chen's words, Emo Qingyun's expression changed and a trace of shock appeared on his face. He had not expected the dark devil race to come so soon. Then, Emo Qingyun's figure flickered and left the Fortune mainland. Boom boom boom, just as Emo Qingyun returned to his room, a series of earth-shattering noises came from outside the true absolute beginning Devil Hall. These were the sounds of attacking the sect's grand defensive formation. Sensing such a commotion, Emo Qingyun was shocked and hurried out of his room. Then, he saw two voices frantically attacking the newly strengthened sect-protecting grand formation. From the looks of it, even if the grand defensive formation is strengthened, it won't be able to last for long. Emo Qingyun frowned when he saw the great sect-protecting array. He knew what was going on. Knowing that the grand defensive formation would not be able to last for long, Emo Qingyun's expression turned solemn. He looked coldly at the two people outside the grand defensive formation and said, "Although the Dark Devil race only sent 2 people, both of them are Saint Emperors. Now that's what Qinlong and the others have left, it will be difficult for us to fight against them with our strength." Emo Qingyun sighed inwardly. He had a feeling that Ziju and Enchern had calculated the timing well. Otherwise, they would have attacked as soon as Zhua Qinlong and the others left. Moreover, they only sent 2 Saint Emperors. Chapter 30-25. Qingyun, should we contact the people of the Anti-Demon Alliance and ask them to come and help us? Lei Muwen's pretty face was tense as she looked at the sect-protecting grand array that was on the verge of collapse. She asked Emo Qingyun for his opinion. Emo Qingyun shook his head. It's too late. By the time they come to help, they'll have broken the formation and attacked us. Hearing Emo Qingyun's words, Lei Yi and the others fell silent. They couldn't deny this point. After explaining the current situation, Emo Qingyun's expression turned grave as he said, "When the formation breaks, Enchern and I will hold them back. You take the disciples and leave as soon as possible." Lei Muwen's face tightened when she heard Emo Qingyun's words. She seemed unwilling. In her opinion, if Emo Qingyun and Enchern stayed behind, they would be stuck here forever. With Enchen's Saint Emperor cultivation, it wouldn't be too difficult for him to escape even if there were 2 Saint Emperors. However, with Emo Qingyun's advanced Sector Lord cultivation, it would be too difficult for him to escape. "Don't worry, it'll be fine. My strength has improved a lot recently. It won't be that easy to take me down." Emo Qingyun didn't seem to care when he saw Lei Muwen's worried face. He smiled and comforted her. While Emo Qingyun and Emo Qingyun were talking, the sect-protecting grand array was broken. Boom! There was a huge explosion. The protective formation of the true absolute beginning Devil Hall flashed and gradually dissipated in the air. Then, Ziju Ao and Enchun entered the true Primordium Devil Palace. "I was careless last time and accidentally fell into your trap. This time, none of you will be able to leave." After breaking the true Primordium Demon Hall's sect-protecting formation, Zijuaho sneered proudly, as if he had Emo Qingyun in his grasp. Emo Qingyun said solemnly, "If you want to fight, then fight. There's no need to talk nonsense." Emo Qingyun flew out of the true Primordium Devil Palace after he finished speaking. He didn't plan to fight in the sect's territory. Ziju Ao and Enchern exchanged a look when they saw Emo Qingyun's actions. They immediately chased after Emo Qingyun. "Ancestor Lei Yi, take the disciples and retreat. I'll go help Qingyun." Lei Muwen was worried when she saw Emo Qingyun and the others fly away. She immediately flew towards Emo Qingyun's group. Lei Yi gritted his teeth when he heard Lei Muwen's words. He didn't follow them. "Gather the disciples immediately and leave the sect." Lei Yi hesitated for a moment, but he didn't hesitate at all. He immediately took his disciples and left. He knew very well that the sect wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. Lei Muwen arrived at Emo Qingyun's side as Lei Yi and the others left. Her pretty face was filled with determination. Emo Qingyun frowned when he saw Lei Muwen's arrival. His face was filled with worry. However, he could see that Lei Muwen had made a decision. Since that's the case, the two of us will deal with Ziju Ao. And Chun will deal with the remaining one. Lei Muwen nodded. Ziju Ao smiled coldly when he heard Emo Qingyun's words. You think you can fight me with just the two of you? You're overestimating yourselves. As soon as Ziju Ao finished speaking, he moved and charged at Ziju Ao. As soon as Emo Qingyun moved, An Chen's figure flashed and charged at Ziju Ao. Despicable brat. Ziju Ao's eyelids twitched when he saw Emo Qingyun and An Chen attacking together. He felt a strong sense of uneasiness. He really didn't expect that Emo Qingyun and An Chen would suddenly change their minds and attack him together. Lei Muwen raised her lily-white hand, and a simple and unadorned purple clock appeared in front of Ziju Go's eyes. The purple clock flew out of Lei Muwen's hand. It grew rapidly and covered Saint Emperor Shuao. Saint Emperor Shuao dodged quickly. That purple clock is not simple. Ziju Ao guessed Lei Muwen's thoughts when he saw her attack. He immediately reminded Saint Emperor Shuao. Hearing Ziju Ao's reminder, Saint Emperor Blood Fury immediately moved and dodged the heaven-sealing purple lightning bell. Emo Qingyun frowned when he saw this. He immediately released a law. Double spatial compression law. Under Emo Qingyun's law, the distance between Saint Emperor Shuao and the purple thunder heaven-sealing bell instantly shrunk by close to 90%. As the distance shrunk, it became impossible for Saint Emperor Shuao to dodge. Boom! A loud sound was heard. Saint Emperor Shuao was enveloped. He frantically attacked the purple thunder heaven-sealing bell in an attempt to break free. Seeing that Saint Emperor Blood Fury had been trapped, Emo Qingyun didn't let his guard down at all. With a cold expression, he said, "Let's cripple him before he breaks out of the prison. Then we can slowly deal with that person." Alright. An Chen didn't dare to hesitate when he heard Emo Qingyun's instructions. He strengthened his attacks. Ziju Ao couldn't take it anymore when he faced Emo Qingyun and An Chen's frenzied attack. His expression became tense. Although Emo Qingyun was only in the advanced stage of the Sector Lord realm, the battle strength he displayed was close to the Saint Emperor realm. Moreover, there was An Chen who was stronger than him. This gave him too much pressure. "Qingyun, let me help you." Lei Muwen sealed Saint Emperor Shuao. She didn't hesitate and immediately went to help Emo Qingyun. She was able to fight against the Black Bear Grand Sage when she was in the Great Emperor realm. Now that she had broken through to the Great Saint realm, she could pose a threat to Saint Emperors. With the addition of Lei Muwen, Ziju Ao's situation became even worse. Strange. Ziju Ao didn't run away when he faced the three of us. Emo Qingyun frowned when he saw Ziju Ao's current performance. He was puzzled. The difference between Ziju Ao's performance this time and the last time was too great. Seeing Ziju Ao's resistance, Emo Qingyun was puzzled. He said, "Could it be that Ziju Ao has some trump card that he hasn't used?" With such a thought, Emo Qingyun's expression became tense. He said to Lei Muwen and Shuao, "There's something wrong with this old man. He might be hiding some trump card. Let's be careful." "Okay." Lei Muwen and Shuao nodded. Seeing the conversation between Emo Qingyun and the other two, Ziju Ao's face darkened. He was furious. In his opinion, Emo Qingyun was too careful. Under such a situation, he didn't relax at all. It gave him a headache. He thought that since Lei Muwen had trapped Saint Emperor Shuao, Emo Qingyun would let his guard down. Then, he would let them find a way to break the formation and kill Emo Qingyun and the other two. But looking at the current situation, the probability was too low. "You dare to be distracted when fighting with me? Die." Seeing that Ziju Ao was distracted, An Chen sneered and took advantage of the opportunity. Then, he struck out with his palm. A black door of light appeared and enveloped Ziju Ao. When Ziju Ao was enveloped by the black door of light, a transparent sword light suddenly exploded from Ziju Ao's body. Seeing the sword light, Emo Qingyun's expression changed. He immediately flew toward Lei Muan. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.